Can you guys hear it clearly now? Now, can you hear me? Are we good now? Do we have sound? What about now? We good now? Yes? No? On the sound? We got it? Yes! Awesome. Okay. So, do-overs are do-overs, right? So, hey everybody, my name is Roberto Blake. For those of you not familiar with me, my YouTube live streams usually lack this level of technical difficulties, but there is a new setup. I've gotten all kinds of new gear, and sometimes when you do things live, these things happen. So we'll just have to roll with it. For those of you who may not be familiar with me, I am a creative entrepreneur. I am a YouTube certified marketer, and I'm the founder of AwesomeCreatorAcademy.com, an online platform for courses, coaching, and a mentoring program where you can actually get support if you're trying to build your personal brand or your online business. So don't forget to check out AwesomeCreatorAcademy.com. That is the sponsor of today's stream, which means I am sponsoring myself. Which is definitely something you guys should do on YouTube if you want to monetize. Now, that being said, I want to talk to you about something really cool today. I want to talk about getting started on YouTube in 2018. There are a lot of you who are concerned about changes to the algorithm. There are those of you who are concerned about the policy changes. There are concerns that it is dramatically different to start on YouTube now than it might have been in years past. And I want to kind of help you assuage a few of those fears. Now, some of you are saying that the mic is pretty loud. Let me adjust that real quick. Nope. All right, so that should be a little bit better for you guys who are listening on headphones. So, with that being said, I want to jump into this topic. I actually wrote a very long blog post about it, and I'm going to take some of your questions. In fact, we're going to queue up some of your chat stuff here on the screen in just a moment, and then we'll be able to kind of interact a little bit, because the thing I like about doing YouTube live streams is it's not me just doing a talking head video on YouTube. It gives me the ability to interact with you guys, to answer some of your questions, and to really give us a sense of community here. And I'm really glad that with YouTube Super Chats, they gave us a little bit more in terms of features with that. So, that's definitely one of the things we're going to talk about today, is the things you can do with YouTube and how you can grow there, because it's not over for you if you're starting in 2018. I know a lot of people are worried about that. So, YouTube in 2018 is a little bit different than it has been in years past. And if you're just getting started, you shouldn't really worry about other YouTubers. You shouldn't worry about what the big YouTubers are doing, and you shouldn't chase that. You also, there are things that I'm going to walk you through in this, because there's a mindset that you really do need for YouTube when you're just getting started. The question I get asked the most is probably, aside from well, how do I grow, or how do I get views, or how do I get subs, or anything like that, is when did you get your first 100 subscribers? When did you get your first 1,000 subscribers? How long did it take? Did you get a breakout video? Did someone give you a shout out? Did you go viral? And none of that happened for me. None of that happened to me. If you go back and you look in Social Blade, like many of you, I started a YouTube channel a long time ago, but I didn't do anything with it. I didn't do anything with it from 2009 to 2013. And you know why? I had no confidence, and I had no on-camera presence, and I was really awkward, and I didn't like being on camera, to be very painfully honest with you. I'm an introvert. And I'm a little neurotic. I did not like being on camera at all, and that is, for most people, an essential part of YouTube. There's people in here literally spamming the comments, as you can see, asking, how do you get views? How do you get views? And I'm going to be very blunt and brutally honest, and then I'll get to the tactical part of that, is that you want to get views. There are 3 things you probably need to do. 1, don't suck on camera. I sucked on camera for maybe the first 40 videos. Gary Vaynerchuk wasn't great on camera for the first 60 videos that he ever did. So rule number 1 is don't suck on camera. That's par for the course if you want people to watch and engage with your stuff. And if you are not comfortable on camera, you might not really be cut out with YouTube, in the exception being that if you're going to do streaming content where it is a screencast of what's going on in your computer, which could be tutorial content. I started that way. Marquez Brownlee, MKBHD, he started that way. Gamers do that sometimes. Some commentators do that. So that is important. You can't even deliver value if you're not confident to either be on camera or at least have a good radio voice if you're going to do voiceover type content over a screencast. So if those aren't your talent, then this may not be for you to be in front of the camera talent. The other angle would be if you're not good in front of the camera talent and you're not going to do screencasting, is you would have to make documentary style or compilation style videos. And the other thing I'll tell you is, getting started on YouTube, is if you don't know what content you want to do and you don't know what videos you want to make, you may not be ready to be on YouTube. I wrote an ebook that is free, and you can find a link to that in the description down below. I wrote an ebook that is basically 7 ways or 7 signs to know if you're ready to start a YouTube channel. And part of it is you don't really need to get on camera or to get on YouTube if you don't have anything to say. If you don't have anything to say, and I'm not trying to be discouraging here, I'm not trying to tell you, oh, get off YouTube, or not, but I'm putting into perspective for you. I'm being really real. You cannot expect other people to watch you and to give you attention while you bumble through certain things. And that was real for me. If you watch my earliest content, and you'll see why I went from 2009 barely making videos, and it took 4 years before I felt ready to be on camera and to talk about something that I felt confident in, something that I felt really passionate about, which was software, Adobe software, design, video editing, things that I had an artistic and creative talent for and technical ability at, that I felt confident about because it was my career. It was how I paid my bills. It was the thing that gave me a job and then let me become a freelancer and eventually start a business. I felt confident about that, and I was passionate about it, and I wanted to talk to people about how to start their career. And I wanted to give people some advice that I didn't get even in college, because maybe I could help them build something out for their life and not go into debt. But if it hadn't been that, then I would have done entertainment stuff. I would have done stuff like, Star Wars stuff. I would have, like, got out a lightsaber. And then I may have, like, just done a lot of Star Wars content, and I probably would have done it in the voice of Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith and Emperor of the First Galactic Empire. So I would have just done that shtick, and I would have been an entertainment YouTuber, if anything else, because I'm passionate about Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars nerd. So there is a value to entertainment. I'm not telling you have to do educational content either, but what I am telling you is if you don't have something you're passionate about, you don't have something you're good at, you don't have something to say, maybe it's not time for you to be on YouTube yet. And once you pick something, the best people and the people who grow on YouTube stick with something. What I will tell you about the era of YouTube that your favorite YouTubers probably came from, unless you're talking about Jake or Logan Paul, I'll be very real with you. The era of you starting YouTube being a personality is pretty much over, unless you have if you're going to be a vlogger, you could be a vlogger and you could be a little bit of a personality, but you'd also have to have something that is in your niche beyond vlogging your life, and your life would have to be something interesting. An example would be if you were a college student and you were doing vlogs, you couldn't just do vlogs of here's what I ate today or whatever. You would have to talk about the college experience, and you would have to have topics and advice and lifestyle stuff for the college crowd. And it could balance entertainment and education. So that would be a thing. And I would say that those could do well for you in that arena. And I'll use my friend Sarah as an example. You guys might be familiar with Sarah Dici. She is a YouTube vlogger, but she travels all the time. And travel vlogging and stuff is actually really interesting and compelling. And on top of that, she left college. She left being a computer science major and then electrical engineering college to pursue filmmaking full time. And her series on YouTube that kind of launched her channel and got her notice was a series. It was a docu-series called Creative Spaces TV, where she interviewed creative professionals and creative entrepreneurs, people like Ted Forbes, great YouTube photographer, I think is at like 500,000 subscribers right now, and some other people, and myself included eventually. And that was what she launched her channel in earnest, which she'd been doing some vlogs and some travel videos before that, but she really got traction with this series that she did, right? And she got, you know, some attention around that, and there's some other things, and yes, she did eventually get a shout out from Casey Neistat, but she still earned the other 2/3 of her subscriber base completely on her own merit. And she wouldn't have gotten it, Casey Neistat shout out, and his community wouldn't have embraced her if she didn't have quality content to begin with. She also had tech videos because she's a filmmaker. She had videos about her camera gear. And so if you're going to be a vlogger, and I'm using Sarah as an example of this, is that if you're going to be a vlogger like her or Sam Sheffer or Craig Adams or any of these people, is that you have to have something more going on than just, here's a day in my life, and you have to have some other supplementary videos that might be search friendly that could help you and that will get shared and will break you into a certain niche. And there are other people that do this, and it makes total sense if you think about it. So you have to find what you're good at, and you have to play to your strengths, and that's self-awareness. And again, if you're young and you're starting YouTube, there's a good chance you have no idea what you're good at. There's a chance you have no idea what you're passionate about yet. There's a chance that you have no idea who you are. And that might mean that it may not be time to start a YouTube channel per se if you're completely lacking any self-awareness of who you are and what you're good at. And that's not to be discouraging, that's to put into perspective, because you're going to need a thick skin for this. It's going to be hard, you're going to get haters, even when you're small, and they're not going to go away when you get bigger. So all that being said, you do need to have a plan in place. Now, in the old days, because a lot of you will bring up this big YouTuber and that big, that was the old days. The old days are gone. They're not coming back. The good old days are gone. All right. So, what I'll tell you a little bit of why I did, and we'll go into some more technical detail here, and more granular detail. But I'm gonna answer some of your questions here. But I'm trying to set the stage for you, and like I said, I'm trying not to be discouraging. What I'm going to say is that when you want to do YouTube, you have to remember that nobody is initially there for you and your personality. They're there for whatever the promise of the content is, and that's supposed to serve them. Whether that's an inspiration, whether that's an entertainment, it's like, think like a fan. There are very few people that are like under 100,000 or under 1 million subscribers that you tune into for their personality, and you don't know who somebody is when they're just getting started. And so you have to understand that people don't know who you are yet. They aren't invested in you yet. It's hard enough to get your friends and family to pay attention to the things you do and the things you care about, especially when they don't care about them. So you have to figure out what somebody who doesn't know you would care about, and then deliver on it to it in an engaging way for them, and then that's what's going to do it. And there are some of you who are like, okay, great, and that's all fluffy stuff, Roberto, but what do I actually do? And so if you are one of those too long didn't read people, I'm just going to tell you how to grow. Here's the fastest way to grow in YouTube. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to straight up tell you. This is going to be a longer stream, but I'm going to straight up tell you now the fastest way to grow in YouTube. First of all, I'm going to yell at you. Stop begging for subscribers. Stop buying subscribers. Stop buying views. Stop buying likes. And stop begging in other people's comments. Stop begging in big YouTubers' comments. Ain't nobody came to the comment section for you if you're doing that. You wanna be in people's comment section, and you want to get some traction from a bigger channel like that? Cool. Be the smartest, funniest, most engaging guy or gal in somebody's comments, and good things will happen to you. Okay? But that's not even the fastest way to grow on YouTube. The fastest way to grow on YouTube is this. Ask people, well, first of all, make content that doesn't suck. Make good content. And I'll tell you what good content is, because no one tells you. Everyone says make good content, and then no one tells you what good content is, right? I'll get to that in the stream at some point. But I'm going to tell you the fastest way to grow on YouTube. Ask for people to share. Instead of even asking for people to subscribe to your content, ask for people to share your content. Because views might be more important to your initial growth than whatever your subscriber count is. Because that will come later, and that will come after they've watched 3 to 5 videos. Because I asked you guys myself, How many videos did it take for you to subscribe? You guys said 3 to 5. If you do not have 3 to 5 videos that are mostly the same thing or in the same niche or follow the same thread, don't complain about not having subscribers, please. And again, I know this is going to sound a little harsh or a little condescending. I'm going to be the person who's going to be honest with you. I'm not here to completely hold your hand. I'm here to make you successful, and some of that will be radical honesty. I borderline subscribe to radical honesty. I try to be respectful of the fact that I know some people are easily discouraged. Some people are more sensitive than others. I was a freaking sensitive kid. You can make me cry like that. It was easy. Okay, so I get it. And some of you have a hard enough time. But I'm trying to give you the no fluff, no frills, no BS answer to how this works. And this does not matter whether you're talking 2013 versus 2018, because this is human behavior. And this is me polling you guys constantly. This is me going into analytics. This is me getting 2,000 of you to vote in polls. Okay? So, this is painfully honest. Like my friend Jason at Painfully Honest Tech. This is painfully honest. And what it is you have to think like a fan. My friend Brian Fanzo talks about this. You have to think like a fan. We found out that it takes 3 to 5 videos at least before someone hits that subscribe button. Okay? And it has to be 3 to 5 videos of the video that grabbed them and got them in the door. It has to be 3 to 5 videos like that. So that is very real. And before I move on to this rant, I'm going to answer Connor Minnick's question real quick. He says, one question for you to answer. I see lots of people with 10 subs get thousands of views on video. I try so hard and my videos average 300 views. Why? First of all, Connor, stop comparing yourself to other people and stop worrying about what other people got. Stop worrying about it. There are people with less artistic talent than me that got jobs in art or photography or this or that and might be famous, and I don't sweat them because that was their deal. I wasn't in California or New York or Philly or whatever to meet the people they did at the time that they did to get the success that they had on less talent. So I don't worry about it. I don't worry about other people. I worry about getting mine. That's the first thing mindset-wise. Number two, I would say that you have no idea what they did in the background. You have no idea if some random person in their audience shared that thing on Reddit and then it blew up from there and that the views came from Reddit. You have no idea if that's true or not because you are not them. I don't care if they did a same video as you, same title, similar thumbnail, and you think it was a poor video. Maybe they had a following in Twitter. Maybe somebody in their audience had a following in Twitter. Maybe someone in their audience shared it on Reddit. You don't know. And if that's not if you don't know, there ain't no point in worrying about it. There ain't no point in crying about what somebody else got when you got yours and everything like that. I did 1,000 videos to get the 300,000 subscribers, like 1,200 videos. There are plenty of people who've done 100, 150, get to 2 million subscribers in like 2 or 3 years versus 5. I don't care. I'm happy for them, especially the ones of them that are my friends. People like Charisma on Command, Ben and Charlie, they did less than 100 videos to go over to 1 million subscribers. I was watching back at like video 25 or video 30 for them. I remember when they had 30,000 subscribers and I had like 100,000 subscribers. They've lapped me several times over and I couldn't be happier for Ben and for Charlie. They're going to be at ClamorCon next week. I'm going to be sitting poolside sipping margaritas with them, and we're gonna like laugh and smile, and we probably won't even talk about our YouTube channels, and we'll talk about life, and they will tell me what I need to do to stop being single, because their channel can help you with that, because it'll help you with your charisma and your mindset and several other things in behavioral psychology, and so that could fix my problem. But my actual problem with that is probably just being a workaholic, because that's my real problem. So but I don't complain. But no, the reality, Connor, is that you need to stop sweating what your homies are doing. You need to stop sweating what your competition, your so-called competition, is doing. You need to be face down in your own stuff, and you need to hustle, and you need to not worry about other people. You need to get yours. Don't worry about other people. Stop comparing yourself to other people. If you stop comparing yourself to other people, and if you stop caring what other people think, you are more likely to be successful than if you go the route you're going right now. So now to pivot back to what I was saying about, one, I'm going to teach you the fastest way to grow on YouTube, which is sharing. And I brought it up in this. It's get your audience. Like, don't go out and make a fake Reddit account or nothing. Get your audience that are active in Reddit and in Twitter and in Facebook groups to share your content and distribute it in these active platforms. But also, if you do not have like 10 videos that line up that are mostly the same thing, you have very little chance of growing, because it takes 3 to 5 videos minimum of someone watching something similar before they subscribe. And you guys know that, because you guys all told me how many videos it took you to subscribe to my channel. And I polled you in Facebook, I polled you in Twitter, and I polled you in YouTube in the community tab. And I've asked people directly, and you guys even did it here in the live stream before, and you guys straight up said how many videos it takes before you subscribed. And then, so you have to go ahead and you have to go deeper. So that means, okay, I have 3 to 5 videos of this similar thing. The other thing is, most of you have no gateway videos. You have no gateway videos. I'll give you a primary example. A lot of you want to do vlogs, and you'll do vlog number 2 and vlog number 3 and vlog number 4, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And so it's not an attractive title that gets somebody in the door. It's like not something that is wildly interesting, and then half of you are not doing anything with a thumbnail on that to get it clicked. But then beyond that, and the lack of context and interest there, is you'd have to have something that pulls people into your channel. Then you have to have enough content that's similar to that for them to stick around and to subscribe. And then you'd have to keep making content like that in order for them to keep giving you a lot of views, for your view to sub ratio to be whatever you want it to be or whatever you think it should be. I know that it's a YouTuber thing. This will be one of those do what I say, not do what I do things in this particular instance. And I'll tell you why. The reason that I don't follow some of the rules that I'm telling you is, one, I'm already at 300,000 subscribers. I already have the coveted silver play button, and I'm not flexing this on you. I'm making a point. I already have this, so I don't have to, because I don't really care about the gold play button for reasons, and I'll get to that in a minute. But others of you might. I'll just hang that back up later. But like, some of you might care about having 1 million subscribers, and some of you might like care about that. I care about the thing that I'm doing with my personal brand. I care about some specific higher level goals. Valdez Brown is asking, Roberto, do you have a job outside of YouTube? Be honest, and your freelance work. Valdez, I don't do freelance work anymore. I used to. That was part of how I got started. I have a business outside of YouTube, and I have for majority of this entire time. It's called, like, I'm not being facetious when I say this. Instead of asking me that question, you literally could have Googled it in your phone, because there's a good chance that I could have ignored it for multiple reasons when we got other more relevant, pertinent questions here. In terms of like being honest, it literally is called Google me, or look at awesomecreatoracademy.com, the thing I announced at the beginning of the live stream, which is my actual business, one of my companies that I do. And then you would kind of have context that when you have a $99 flagship product and you can buy ads in Google and Facebook to generate traffic and revenue against a $99 product, the odds are that you don't need a day job, because why would you work for $15, $20, or even $30 an hour when you have a passive money-making machine that per individual transaction can make $100, when the average American median salary in this country is about $40,000 a year, when you have the ability to generate $100 minimum on a single transaction in a day on a website that is open 24/7, you don't really need to worry about making what? If you did $20 an hour, $160, which will be $120 after taxes, when you can basically clear that in a sale. And that's one of the things I try to teach people. So, but like I said, that answer could have been derived from Google. But I digress. Like, my point is that if you're going to be successful on YouTube, there are things outside of the common approach that you're deriving from big YouTubers that you really need to look at, because what they're doing now is not where they started. And I'll use the question that we got from, who was it who asked that question? From Valdez, kind of as a segue to this. My priority is not growing the YouTube channel to 1 million subscribers, because I would rather continue to use the YouTube channel as a marketing platform, as an education and teaching platform, so that I can do more speaking engagements, which puts me in a physical room with meeting more of you. It also puts me in a physical room with people who are capable of investing in my consulting and coaching services, either coaching one-on-one or the consulting for private small businesses and medium-sized businesses with the corporate workshops, which I get to bill more for than the one-on-one coaching. I can get to the people who can become premium level coaching clients on a retainer, and I can get to brands that can sponsor content. And when you get to brands that can sponsor content, then you can go ahead and you can generate from an individual sponsor for a few video mentions. You could be generating $1,000 to $2,000 a month from a single sponsor if you position it correctly and if your value proposition is correct. So at this point, I've shifted focus from growing my YouTube channel because I have the numbers, and I've shifted to growing the podcast, building out even more of the legacy of my personal brand, and to also focus more heavily on the component of getting you guys to either a level where you can freelance and make extra money and make a few thousand extra dollars a year to offset your income and provide for your family, or give you some level of more mobility and freedom, or where you can transition to leaving a job that you're uncomfortable with to a better job because you either have a higher level of technical skill or you have better negotiating tactics. And so there's that aspect of it. Or you could start a business if you want to as a solo entrepreneur or as a micro entrepreneur with a few employees, or a genuine small business owner. And so that is where my channel's direction is going. That does not necessarily align with the mainstream YouTube tactics that you would need to grow. And in order to accomplish that, you'd also have to diversify your revenue streams, which I will get to in a minute. But if your goal is growing on YouTube in terms of views and in terms of subscribers, we have to go back to our notes for the primary thing that I said is like the fastest thing to be able to grow a channel, which is you have to move to a place where you are getting more people to share your content. You need gateway videos that will pull people in. And I'll give you an example of a gateway video. And it may not be for every niche, but I'll try and cover education. I'll try and cover something more general like fitness, and then I will cover something like travel and financial education. I'll give you an example of a beauty video as well. So let's start with a beauty video, because I don't talk about this very often, and it's something that theoretically would be out of my wheelhouse if I hadn't done so many coaching and consulting things around all of this, and I analyze and study channels. Back in the day, I also studied Michelle Phan's channel because she also had some of the best production values. If you guys, here's the thing I'll tell some of you dudes out there, watch some of these beauty gurus on YouTube. Do you know why you should be watching beauty gurus on YouTube if you're a dude? Because you'll start to understand the value of owning a macro lens instead of always, and you'll understand like what good lenses can do for you and how they can create bokeh. And also the beauty gurus are smarter about lighting and about cropping and framing probably than any other group of YouTubers. I'm being 100% legit with you. Like, analyzing the production values of other genres and niches in YouTube could let you bring a different aesthetic and help you understand gear better, and that would actually be very practical for you. And I would say the two best type of channels to learn better production and editing technique are beauty YouTubers and tech YouTubers. Beauty YouTubers and tech YouTubers have this on lock. They have this on lock. I'm gonna pivot real quick to a clip. I'm gonna pivot real quickly to the Post Color blog. You mentioned the per hour salary before, but it stuck with me. I'm guessing that even if you don't sell a $99 course each day, there are days when you sell multiple and ends up working out. Yup. But my new sales funnel is going to mean that, and I pretty much have been selling something every day, because I don't only have, it's not only a course. Actually, it's not a course that I sell. The YouTube Starter Kit is a graphics pack, which makes it better than a course because there are more people who could get value from that, because it's 160 downloads plus other resources for 99 bucks. It is a steal because we're talking about Photoshop templates that are usually $5 or $10 a piece, and I'm selling 160 Photoshop templates and some Canva assets for $99. Link in the description with a discount code for you guys, so it's actually less than that, so it's even more valuable. But going back to what I was saying about beauty YouTubers. Okay, so gateway content if you're a beauty YouTuber. If you're a beauty YouTuber, a piece of really good gateway content for you would be, for example, doing comparisons of different types of makeup, or doing a roundup of, or a haul video of makeup from the pharmacy, or from, like, you know, the dollar store. If you did a thing about dollar store, like if you did a dollar store makeup challenge and you titled that as a video, that would be an amazing piece of gateway content to draw people in. Or makeup on the go for under $50, or like makeup in under 5 minutes. And, like, you know, and you could do something where it's literally a makeup tutorial in under 5 minutes, whether it's hair, whether it's eyeliner, whether it's nails, in under 5 minutes, if you can actually deliver on that. Because what's the variable of every single human being, no matter who they are? Time. If you have any type of content that saves people time or saves people money, that is great gateway content and makes people successful. You either have to save them time, save them money, or save them embarrassment, and you automatically have something that is worth watching to any general human being. And so there are ways to hack into that. If you were a comedian or entertainer on YouTube, you could do that as a parody and make fun of things, and that would be your gateway content. Or you could do parodies in general about anything that has mainstream attention. People like iJustine got their start doing funny music videos and parodies and things of that nature, and you could still do that and be successful today. You just have to find something relevant in mainstream culture. So if you're an entertainment channel and not a tutorial channel, you can do that. But gateway content is essential. And I'll give you another one. If you're a fitness person or a health or nutrition person, meal prep. Meal prep is insanely good right now as gateway content. Or if you did 15-minute workouts, 15-minute yoga, 10-minute yoga, you're saving people time. So it's that. Everyone cries about how saturated gaming is and how much they love gaming, but none of you have tried to become the Philip DeFranco of gaming. In other words, how many gaming news shows are there? How many gaming news shows are there? Not a lot. How many of you specifically are even doing reviews of games or doing reviews of mobile games or mobile apps? Like, you're not. Like, the mobile version of Fortnite right now would be hot for you, and doing tutorials for the mobile version. If you were a gamer and you wanted to get into gaming right now, you could get permission to do other things later if you did the mobile version of Fortnite and the mobile version of this thing and that thing and so on and so forth. Clash Royale, there's a lot you could do there. If they were tutorials to get people started on the game, then you could do some gameplays, but you'd have to mix it in with the tutorials and the walkthroughs. How do I know that it works? Because as a kid in the 80s, I had Nintendo Power Magazine, so I could get through these like ridiculously hard freaking games like Metroid and Super Mario Brothers 3. I had Nintendo Power Magazine, and you could just basically do the video version of Nintendo Power Magazine and be successful at this point if you pick a genre of gaming and stick to it. So that's, you know, that's what would work for you. Valdez, the YouTube Starter Kit in the description of this live stream. There are links to the YouTube Starter Kit at awesomecreatoracademy.com, and there's a great discount code for you guys. So definitely take advantage of that. And that is linked down below. So again, Jake Summers is asking, well, how do you find your niche? You find your niche by doing something you're either good at, something you feel very confident about, you're passionate at, And then you have to find an angle of that works for you. You have to have an angle of that works for you. Like I said, if you wanted to get into beauty and makeup, going with the cheap, affordable beauty and makeup would be the thing where you get narrow into the niche and you got something specific to offer to start. You can go and branch out later, but you start there, and then you could get into, you could do things like the time. If you can do something and you can do it faster than people, then that's better. But fast isn't always the answer. Maybe if you go into more detail than someone else. Jared Polin is a photographer on YouTube, and you know what his thing is? These things he calls the real world reviews, and they're highly produced, they're highly polished. He gets someone to follow him around with a camera, usually Steven Eckert, and what happens is Jared Polin goes out into the world. He goes to he lives in Philly. He'll either go to New York, or he'll go to LA, or he'll go to Chicago or somewhere, and he will take out this camera and he will show you how it does every facet of this camera in the real world, and you will get a detailed, comprehensive review of what it's like to use this camera, see the footage, see shots from every angle. He'll let you download the raw files to edit yourself, and that's a different thing. And instead of it being a short video or the shortest video, it's like the longest video you'll ever get on that camera. But it's the video you need if you're gonna buy a $2,000 or $3,000 camera or a $1,500 lens. So if you're doing these things, you need some flagship content that represents like you and is different than what other people have. You need some gateway content to get people in, and then you need to go deep and have 3 to 5 videos to start of the same type of content that they came for to get them to subscribe, and then to keep them coming, you'd have to stay consistent about putting that content out. Whether that means doing it on a schedule, whether that means making a series that they could binge watch, that it's 10 videos of the same topic, and then the rest of the videos are similar enough to that. You can't literally try to do 10 things on a YouTube channel most of the time. Very few exceptions. The odds are you are not the mythical unicorn that works for. Vizik says, I'm looking to make YouTube videos about music production, but my main goal is not to have a huge YouTube channel, but redirecting people to my music website. Any tips? My tip would be that you grow the audience and then you move them. You have to get people packed somewhere, and then you can get them to do something. So you do need to grow that music channel, Vizik, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right. Vizik, you do need to grow that audience on your music channel, and then you can push traffic to your music website, because the initial thing is, if you get people leaving YouTube, it hurts your videos, hurts your growth, hurts your channel. Build that initial audience and then push them somewhere else. This is one of those also do what I say versus do what I do things, because like even in the beginning, I've hurt my channel, even though I've done other things to help it. I've hurt my channel because I constantly push people off YouTube to do things where they get to buy from me and where I can prioritize making revenue off of YouTube. I did that earlier than most people, and it hurt the growth of the channel. The channel could grow more if I didn't do that, but I produce so much content that keeps people on YouTube that it doesn't hurt me as bad as it hurts other people. Now, I'm not saying you can't do that, but I'm saying that if you do 3 videos, 1 in those 3 can take people off YouTube. If you're going to do 3 videos a week, if you're only doing 1 video a week, you probably can't get away with that nearly as well, especially when you don't have a lot of content to begin with. You would need to have a good 30, 50 videos in the pipeline. Muasid M asks, how long on average does it take to grow to 100K subs? I'm going to eliminate an assumption here. There is no average, there is no normal. I want you to take the idea of it takes this long to grow a YouTube channel, or this is what's normal, or this is how fast I can grow. I want you to take that idea out to the backyard. I want you to pretend that it's Old Yeller. I want you to put it out of its mercy. I want you to put it down. I want you to put that idea down. I want you to walk it out to the back like Old Yeller, and you know what to do. And if you're too young for that reference, look it up, Google search. There is no how long does it take to get to, it doesn't, no. Some people can do it like that, other people can't. There are different niches, there are different genres. I don't know what your skills are. I don't know what your channel is. I don't know how much you can tap into the mainstream market. I don't know if you can tap into the young market that is most of YouTube. I don't know if you're in another country. I don't know if it's an English-speaking country. I don't know if you can leverage other things. I don't know if you can put out content every day. There is no normal. There is no average, because every single one of you will have a different approach to the 25 initial things and then the 200 things after that that make up your channel. There's no normal. There's no normal. There's no average. Everybody is literally, in the context of life and YouTube, a unique and special snowflake. And I'm not using snowflake pejoratively like some jackholes on the internet. I'm using snowflake in the actual literal sense of the allegory it was meant to be for the frailty of humanity and the intrinsic value of the human soul, as eloquently put by Robert Frost, before jackholes on the internet decided to use it as a verbal way of putting down people that they disagree with for being quote-unquote soft. And everybody thinks they're hard until they have to take a punch in the mouth, by the way. So, you know, letting you know how I really feel. So that being said, from a YouTube algorithm standpoint, from a user and viewer standpoint, everybody's a unique and special snowflake. No two channels are exactly the same. From a data fingerprint standpoint, from a data DNA standpoint, your channel is not equal to another channel in your niche. There's like 800 data points that specifically off the top of my head would make your channel unique from a variable standpoint, from a data standpoint. So there ain't no normal. There ain't no normal. So sorry, there's no answer to that. But like I said, the thing that will make you the most successful, is if you focus on gateway content for the first 90 days, and or the next 90 days, if you focus on gateway content, and if you do an average, if you can pull it off, if your schedule doesn't allow for it, then that's fine. If you can average 2 to 3 videos a day or more, 2 to 3 videos a day or more for 90 days, and if they're primarily gateway content, and they're related videos that don't deviate from a theme, and if you can convince people to share those videos, you have a better chance of growing your channel and being successful. Cherry's asks, can you talk about why people judge books by their cover when it's told that you're little that you shouldn't judge books by its cover? Because it's human nature, and because everyone values their time, the cover is the shorthand version of how to qualify whether something is or isn't worth your time. It's why when I go shopping or I go into a store, I try to make sure that I'm wearing my Apple Watch and that I'm wearing my Apple AirPods, and a lot of times I'll have my phone out. And you know why? Because I understand that Apple is a status symbol of people being able to afford a certain amount of something, and so when I don't want to be ignored and treated like I'm poor when I walk into a store and deal with people's assumptions, I basically walk in and I'm shorthanding, giving them context in terms if they're going to judge me by my cover, they're judging me by the cover of someone that can afford Apple devices, which is not the majority of people, and thus that shorthands us to, okay, we've qualified that I can afford to shop here. Treat me well. I shouldn't have to do that, but it's human nature. I've accepted that, and I play accordingly. So instead of worrying about how anything should be, there are plenty of us who think YouTube should do this or YouTube should do that. It doesn't, but I would just say, if you know what the rulebook looks like, play against the rulebook. Instead of fighting the rulebook, just leverage it. That's what smart people do. So, again, I know how that sounds, but it's real. Let's see. We got a couple of first impressions matter. Yep, absolutely. We shouldn't have to, but we do. Yep. It's all about creating like context, and part of that isn't even people being horrible people. Creating context immediately means that people can get past any initial assumptions they might have. And if you're leveraging that to your benefit and advantage, then you're being smart because you're respecting people's time and letting them categorize you if they're going to do it. If you know people are going to put you in a box and categorize you, then just take advantage of it manipulate that situation for your benefit, or at least to cause you the least frustration, and then you do that. And because people judge a book by their cover, I want to remind you of something real quick. Over on awesomecreatoracademy.com, I've created an amazing product for you guys, the YouTube Starter Kit, which we have a discount code for in the description. The YouTube Starter Kit means that when people are judging your YouTube channel by its cover, meaning its channel artwork, its thumbnails, your thumbnails and channel artwork can look like this instead of whatever it currently looks like now, that may not be getting you the click-through rates, the views, and the watch time that you think your content deserves. You might be making good content, but you might be undermining it with a bad thumbnail. You might have a great channel that doesn't represent you well because maybe you don't have good channel artwork that represents you. So helping people take your channel seriously means having good graphics, and not everybody is a Photoshop wizard, and that's okay. You can get the graphics that you need for YouTube end cards, YouTube channel artwork, and YouTube thumbnails with the YouTube Starter Kit, and you can use even free tools like photop.com, like peas in a pod, photop.com, which is basically a free version of Photoshop, but it's browser-based instead of you having to download software. So you can use the YouTube Starter Kit. You can get dozens of templates. You can get channel artwork. You can get end cards. You can get some lower thirds that you can animate yourself. And this is usually 99 bucks. We have a discount code in the description. That discount code is for a limited time, so take advantage of it. And this is a steal, and we're constantly adding new things. Now that YouTube is doing creator sponsors, we are creating some graphics to help you with that, and that absolutely might be something that you want to take advantage of, because like I said, maybe you don't have time to do all the fancy stuff in Photoshop. In this case, you'd be able to pop in your photo, pop in your text, and call it a day. So you can grab that from awesomecreatoracademy.com, which is of course our sponsor, which is basically me being our sponsor because it's my product. So, if you're, judging a book by its cover, if people are going to judge books by their cover, then guess what? You can take advantage of that. That's all there really is to it. Now, going back to what I said about gateway content, I gave you examples of gateway content, and then I pointed out how important it is to have more content that supports that gateway content and is similar. And that also can help you accumulate a massive amount of watch time. You also can take advantage of search-friendly topics. And so that's actually very powerful for the long-term growth of your channel. Now, the amazing Lucas says, what about political channels? How do you advise in monetization there? My advice would be to possibly consider that YouTube may not be a platform for political commentary unless you want to do it for free. I want you to consider that for the following reasons. It's not YouTube's fault. It's that advertisers have chosen, in many cases, to opt out of that. And I'm speaking as an advertiser in this particular case rather than as a creator. While one can make an argument that in the past, YouTube has been very hands-off when it comes to these channels, which is allowed for a great expression of freedom and ideas and all that fluffy stuff. The reality is that YouTube is running a business. The reality is that advertisers are running a business. And so while an advertisement may not be an endorsement, if you're pissed off at Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump and you're watching a YouTube video, I have no interest in, while you're pissed off at one of these politicians, of you also seeing my advertisement while you're in a negative mindset. I'd rather put it on a video from Gary Vaynerchuk or Grant Cardone or somebody that's making you hyped about hustle, so that you spend money, so that you pull out your wallet and you give me your money. That is what running a business looks like. That is what advertising looks like. I have no interest in subsidizing a political YouTube channel for the left or the right with my dollars, knowing that there's almost no chance that you're in the mindset to spend money when you're watching that video. So, from that standpoint, the lack of monetization on political or inflammatory channels or channels that cover certain topics is justified as an advertiser that wants to spend money to promote their products, to sell their products. And it's much more challenging there. That being said, and Smash JT, YouTube isn't bowing to anybody, and advertisers, you're saying advertisers are propagating a political agenda. Smash TV, I'm going to smash your ego right now. I'm going to make something as a capitalist, as an adamant, very passionate capitalist, as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, as someone who buys ads. As someone who buys ads, there's no political agenda. There's one agenda. Capitalism. Capitalism is the agenda. The YouTube thing with regard to the demonetization and things, a lot of you are going to be sensitive and want to think it's politics. And it's not politics. It is this. It is this. This is what advertisers care about. Is this. That's a reality. That's what business people care about. That's what business people care about. It's about, is there a barrier between me and making money? Like, and if you want evidence of that, you can look into the simple fact that most of our politicians are bought anyway, on both sides of the aisle. And to be very real with you, if I were Google, and if I were Facebook, and if I were Time Warner or Viacom, in my opinion, in theory, if I was sitting on that kind of truckload of money, and there was anything in legislation that was an impediment to the continued aggressive growth of my business as a capitalist, the first thing I do, since we haven't repealed Citizens United and I have unlimited free speech money to throw at campaign contributions, is I would find who's for sale on the left, who's for sale on the right. And this is not what I personally as an individual would do. I'm saying if I were in the position of these corporations that want to make that kind of money, because I have a different approach and a different method of things. Like the thing that I would do with billions of dollars is I would go almost Elon Musk approach, and I would make free internet a reality. And then because the internet superhighway is paved all over the world to all 8 billion people at that time, then I would basically, if I subsidized the building of the internet superhighway, I would sell tires and gasoline. AKA, I would, now that everyone's online, everyone becomes my customer. So that's the route I would go. I'm more altruistic, if you will. But if I wasn't so altruistic and I'm one of these corporatists, then the answer is simple. You buy whoever's for sale, whether they're on the left or the right, and they'll do your bidding. And that's the nature of capitalism and corporatism if we have money involved in the political system, which in the United States we do. That is an economic reality. And I don't like talking about politics, but you guys brought it up, so I'm not going to ask permission. I'm just going to go here, and I'm going to be very real with you. And like I said, it is down to this. YouTube, and I defend them on this, is YouTube limits its legal liability when people do stupid stuff with its platform, which is a very important and smart thing to do, and that's why their lawyers cost what they cost. And you see what happened with Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, and you see what's happening with a lot of these other things. So the lawyers are all getting very smart. And if I were the cabal of people in Silicon Valley, at this point, if you want to believe that YouTube has a left-leaning political agenda, if I'm Silicon Valley and I've got those deep pockets, then all of us would get together and we just buy off the right. And then if we already have allies on the left and we buy off the right, then there's nothing stopping us from world domination if we're called Silicon Valley, because we've got all the money, because all the technology is where all the money is and where all the money is going to go. It surely isn't going to be in anything else except maybe pharmaceuticals. It's technology. And so why wouldn't I? Again, you guys made me go here. You guys made me go, well, a couple of you made me go here. I apologize. We're going to get back on track. But I have to defend YouTube on this when people come at them sideways on the politics thing, just because it's money. It's plain and simple. It's money. And if you're not a small business owner, you probably don't get it. But, like, and it's not about, oh, the legality of people speaking their minds. No one owes you the ability to subsidize your free speech on their servers, because free speech is about the government not putting you in jail for something you say. And so I'm venting right now, and I'm going to get back on track and tell you how to do this and how to make money on this. But, like, I'm tired of people coming at YouTube sideways and making it a free speech issue when it's a private company, it's a private organization, it's their servers, you're using their platform for free, and then you're telling them how to run their stuff. So, like, I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing it. Anyway, and I just wanted to make that point. And, like, you get the free live Roberto rants when I get going like that, and, like, that's how people really are stupid about these platforms, is they don't understand the great opportunity that is to subsidize your ability to market yourself for free using these platforms, when back in my day you had to pay an exuberant amount of money to host anything on the internet, and we get to host 2 gig video files for free. So like that's my deal. So we got a relevant question here. How should I start and getting noticed? This is actually really important here, and I might need to pull up my screen for this one because I kind of need to look at this one, because I have notes on this, and this is actually going to be relevant to the far majority of you. So let's see. So with regard to getting started and getting noticed, one of the most important things for getting started and getting noticed is you won't get noticed right away. And that's just how it works. And that's fine, but the thing is, you don't want to get noticed right away, to be honest, because your first couple of videos probably aren't going to be anything great if you're like me. Like, my first videos were nothing so impressive. So I just really, like, didn't feel comfortable on camera. It was awkward. It was bad. Like, it's like, I leave it up to show you guys that whatever you're making is better than what I was making back in the day, right? So my natural talent wasn't public speaking. I was very bad at it. I was awkward. I was nervous. I wasn't confident in my appearance. But the thing that I did was I eventually pivoted, and I eventually was able to work my way up to that point. But the reason I don't know, and I'm going to switch back to the main camera here, the reason that when you ask me, when did I get my first 100 subscribers? When did I get my first 1,000 subscribers? The reason I don't know is because I wasn't excited about it. And here's why I wasn't excited about it. I'm bad about celebrating my victories, guys. It's one of the things that I've been working on, and that my friends and family can tell you, is that I'm bad at recognizing when I've won, and I just keep going, and sometimes I'll beat a dead horse. And 2, I'm always on to the next thing because all I see is the work that I haven't done yet, and I'm really hard on myself with that. And some of you might be experiencing that too. So when I started YouTube and when I started growing an audience, I was actually terrified because I just felt like now I have eyeballs on me and I'm going to be judged while I'm still practicing and while I'm trying to get better. And so when I'm trying to get better, this person's just going to be gone. So when I was just trying to get better at everything I was doing, I didn't want the spotlight, I didn't want the attention, because I knew I was still in practice mode. I knew I still hadn't gotten the camera gear that I wanted right. I knew I still hadn't gotten my audio right. I knew I still hadn't gotten my on-camera presence right. And that was so devastating to me, to then all of a sudden have hundreds of people or thousands of people that were watching my practice run. I wasn't excited about that in the way that I think many of you are, or that I should have been, because I was just so hard on myself, and I was just so nervous about my content not meeting my standards, not anybody else's and not some other big YouTubers, but my personal standards. I couldn't get what was in my head to match what I was putting out into the world, and it just frustrated me so much that I never celebrated those milestones. And I know there are people who might feel that way, and I would try to tell you, it's easy to say that it's easy to say just get over it, but even I didn't do that. That just took time. Right? And that's why I don't think you guys should put a timer on how long it takes to be successful, because it's also about being comfortable in your own success and recognizing your own success. And I think that's something that very few people are willing to talk about, because it means admitting a certain amount of insecurity and vulnerability that you might have had at one point in your life, right? And everybody feels like that at something. Most people feel about that way about their first jobs, right? Or their first week or month or 90-day probational period at the job. So that is something that I think in the entire history of my YouTube channel, it's one of the most important lessons I learned, was the importance of being comfortable with having an audience and opening yourself up to criticism that won't always be constructive. There are some people who will give you advice like, hey, your audio levels aren't right, or hey, have you tried doing this or do that, and they're well-meaning. And then there are other people who aren't well-meaning who will just tell you you suck and won't give you any advice for improving things. And that really bothers me, but I know that's something that is even worse for you guys than it was back in the day, because the expectation of what quality is on YouTube has moved because of how cheap camera gear has come down to. It's moved because we have great people on the platform like Casey Neistat that are challenging that and moving up cinematography. We got people like D for Darius, and I love these guys. We got Ben Brown and it looks like and Craig Adams and Sam Sheffer, and their stuff looks amazing, but it puts so much pressure on a YouTuber just starting out with either their phone or a basic camera or a webcam to do quality content that they think can compete with that for people's attention. And that, to me, it bothers me that people put that kind of pressure on themselves, but I also understand it's a reality because viewers are so impatient, and we've gotten accustomed to an abundance of that high production value quality content that doesn't leave a lot of psychological opportunity for beginners who can't afford that level of investment or don't have that level of skill or creative ability to use those things in that way, or don't aspire to do that type of content. And there still should be a place for them, but the market is the market. And that's why, you know, capitalistically, I'm very aggressive about some of these things, is because you can't change what is accepted in the marketplace, and you can't change the rules. So that's why I get very defensive about that kind of attitude of you have to embrace those realities, whether it's economic reality, the reality of the market, the reality of the platform, the reality of your niche, or the reality of your demographics with regard to what's acceptable in your niche or your genre. So those things become something that I think weigh on you guys emotionally. I mean, you can, in the comments, do you guys ever feel that? Do you ever feel the weight of that pressure that you don't feel like you can keep up with what's going on, and that you can't deliver on the level of quality that you would feel personally satisfied with? Is that something that's real to you guys? Let me know in the live comments or even in the replay, about that. Essie Chilshuda, I think I'm pronouncing it right. Difference between criticism and trolls. What would you recommend? Boundaries. I heard you say someone didn't see what they said. So what I would say is, sometimes, and you shouldn't feed the trolls and everything like that, but sometimes I respond because I want you guys to feel that you have permission to punch back. Not everybody can hug their haters like my friend Jay Bear. Not everybody's in that place emotionally or from a maturity standpoint. I know I'm certainly not. I like to punch my haters and my trolls sometimes and swing back, because some of you shouldn't take crap from people and you think that you have to. And if there's an example I want to set, and it's not always me doing the right thing, but sometimes it's the emotionally satisfying things, or sometimes you just need to do that and stand up for yourself or vent. And so I want to give you permission to do that, because at this point I'm not afraid to look bad, and the people who get it, especially people who are aggressive capitalist or whatever, are going to respect me for punching back instead of like conceding or to do like, whatever. And I hate politics, and that's why I reduce YouTube down to capitalism, is because I genuinely believe it. Now, other people can disagree with me, but I don't necessarily buy into the idea that YouTube has a political agenda. I think they have the agenda of every business, which is make money, make money. And I think that you guys can even see for yourself that platform stability and quality control has been a problem, while revenue for YouTube has not. Aggressively pursuing new talent, do new YouTube Red series, do more ad campaigns, doing more everything that makes YouTube profitable has clearly been the priority for a while now. propping up certain YouTubers and picking winners and losers has been kind of a priority lately, and I think that has to do more with making money than anything else. I could be wrong. I just really think that there's evidence of that, given that we get server 500 errors every week now. We can't upload things. Archive live streams disappeared. Live streams crash and don't work or slow down. Views, something goes wrong. View throttling happens. Quality control is out the window. So I would think that revenue has become a priority. I also remember reading something interesting about the fact that there was a point where YouTube specifically did less community management, and I think this was a turning point, either 2010 or 2013, something like that. I was reading an article about the history of YouTube in depth. I think Business Insider or somebody did it, and it was interesting, and it talked about where even staffing priorities changed. And I know recently they've shifted things to address our concerns on the platform a little bit, and they're doing more flagging and they're doing things of that nature. But I've always observed how these platforms work, and I saw Facebook do this as well. And there's an interesting shift that happens to sustaining profitability, especially with anything that involves a publicly traded company. The shareholder priority becomes the overall priority, and sometimes things like platform stability or community management fall by the wayside. The businessman in me can appreciate the dilemma, but as a consumer and as a viewer and as a creator and even as an advertiser, it infuriates and frustrates me to no end that the technology standpoint of platform stability and making the product work is not the number one priority sometimes, beyond is it working well enough to get by, and then beyond that, how the community engagement is handled and how people feel about it, and whether they feel that there's enough transparency or whether they feel respected. A lack of attention to detail there, that rubs me the wrong way. But with the scale of these large platforms, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, I understand the challenges, because I worked in web development. I know programmers. I have friends who are still in the game, and I have friends who are building their small business around an app that they develop. I'm involved with companies that are doing that. There are a couple of startups that I'm an advisor to or that I'm an investor in. So I really feel for those people. And so that's where my defensiveness on that, not just of YouTube, but of these platforms in general, comes in, because I know how hard people work behind the scenes, and not just us as creators. I also understand the financial logistics in a way that a lot of people don't, because I built my own business without investor money, and I built my own business without a loan or help from my parents. And I believe and I understand what sustaining revenue really looks like at a fundamental level, and I respect it. I respect it, and I respect and believe in capitalism and in a free and fair market more than almost anything. And that's why, and again, I hate politics for that reason, because I feel it gets conflated and it confuses the issue there. And I believe in meritocracy. So YouTube to me is one of the closest things in the digital arena that there is to meritocracy, because the viewer ultimately can decide to support you. And if you think it's all just the algorithm hating you, we've seen data that now with the click-through rates and impressions that refutes that. And that's why I think the fastest way to grow on YouTube is if you make good quality content that people are willing to share in Reddit, where you can get massive traction overnight, or in Twitter and things of that nature, where one of your viewers might have 200 followers, and you could get those 200 followers if you're good enough. That's meritocracy, right? That's you competing and winning and coming out of nowhere. I mean, Peter McKinnon grew to almost 2 million subscribers in 12 months. That's not an accident. He had talent, and he also played the game properly, and which means that if he could do that in 2017, and it's 2018, that means that it can be done. But do you have that level? And I don't expect that you are a photographer with 15 years of experience like Peter, and have been doing things of that nature. But if you have talent, it does matter. Beyond working hard, talent does matter. And that's fair, right? Because as viewers and consumers, we demand a certain level of quality. So giving us what we want as viewers and consumers is absolutely important in YouTube. And so I would say that if you make content on YouTube and you know who you're making it for, you have that niche, and you know what your talent is, and you're good at it, and you stay in your lane, and you stick to it consistently, and you are good, then, you'll be okay and you will grow at some point. Most of the YouTubers that you admire the most, it took them 5 years to find their voice and to make good content, to be very real with you. And some of you are just so impatient, and I understand why, and I understand the pressure you put on yourself, but just remember, like, people aren't out to get you. People aren't out to get you, and there's somebody that likes everybody's content. There's an audience for some people, and some of that audience might be more than others. I mean, my audience is mostly, as you guys know, it's people that are older. It's people that are either in school or they're graduates. They're people who want to build skills or make money or grow a brand or grow a business, and that's, you know, that's an older crowd, but the majority of YouTube is not that, right? The majority of YouTube is the 17 and 13-year-olds that watch Jake and Logan Paul. Are you capitalizing on that audience or not? Like, there's a big audience to be carved out in the Harry Potter fandom. There's the Star Wars fandom. There's the anime fandom. So those are the easier things to do per se, and easy is relative. I'm saying that there is a group of people that, you know, there's a threshold for, oh, there are millions of Star Wars fans, there are millions of Disney's fans, there are millions of Harry Potter fans, and you can tap into that, right? The more common thing would be tech or beauty, because anybody who wants that, you know, there's that there, but then those things are more saturated. Gaming is more saturated. But then can you find an aspect of it that is underserved and stand out there? Or can you deliver a different value and stand out there? And that's the trick. But to accomplish that, you'd have to know what you're good at, and you'd have to be confident, and you'd have to be able to present well. And that's a challenge in and of itself, and you won't be good at it right away. It took me maybe 50 to 100 videos. It took Gary Vee like 60 videos. It takes time sometimes, and that might represent your first year at YouTube, or it might represent your first 3 months. And people are putting so much pressure on themselves to be successful right away that they aren't giving themselves a chance to improve over time. If you played a sport, you would never put those kind of expectations on yourself if you wanted to be competitive. If you played an instrument, you would never do that. And I just want people to give themselves a much fairer shot, you know, than that. I think that more people, you know, could give themselves more time and more patience, because I think that the curve you're grading yourself on is, you're judging yourself by your views, and you're judging yourself by your subscriber count, and you're not judging yourself by your ability to improve your on-camera presence and charisma, your ability to articulate your ideas, your expressiveness, your video editing, your video production skills, your lighting skills, your audio skills. You're not looking at the technical aspects of your growth and evaluating that and giving yourself the appropriate amount of praise for that. You're not judging yourself on your consistency and your ability to continue to walk down this path and to do it, or to meet your deadlines, or to meet you're not rewarding yourself for that. You're judging yourself by the arbitrary result of views and subscribers, which is not something you necessarily control, and is predicated on market demand. And that's not the only thing that matters. From an economic standpoint, it does, but your ability to produce, your ability to do something well does matter, because at some point, once you do that well enough, and then if you are tactical, the market demand would result in that. Because the alternative is, you get a one-hit wonder, you go viral, and then you're irrelevant. You know, and that happens to so many people. You see creators do that. Or you do something that's unsustainable, doesn't make you happy, or it's not viable. Or you do something that you can't ever, or you never learn to pivot. If you never learn to pivot, then, and this is not to call these guys out or to like say anything negative about them, but if you think about one of the biggest channels in 2016. In 2016, Casey Neistat actually gave this channel some props on his panel at VidCon that I was at in 2016. He brought up grade A under A. And ultimately, grade A under A ended up just being a YouTube drama channel. But the interesting thing was, it was all like stick figures in MS Paint and voiceover and really crappy production value, all edited on a smartphone, I believe. And grade A under A was one of the fastest growing channels, millions of subscribers, millions upon millions of views on YouTube in 2016. And grade hasn't put out a video, I think, in 8 months. It's a dead channel with, I think, 3 million subscribers or 2 million subscribers or some crazy number like that. And it's a dead channel because the model of content for that channel was not sustainable. Did he make his money and kind of cash out? Probably, yeah. But the model for that channel wasn't sustainable, and it honestly wasn't making him happy and was causing him more grief than anything. And he did a video about that and about his personal life and about his depression. And so, and what he really wanted to do on YouTube was something completely different, but he lucked into this drama stuff because he did a video about something that frustrated him, and it went viral, and he got notoriety, and he kept doing it and kept doing it. And that is a strategy, but it's not a sustainable one. And you have a crap ton of these channels that have silver and gold play buttons that are dead, and not dead because, oh, they don't get views anymore. They're dead because their creators don't upload anymore, because they're burnt out and they're done, or the rules have changed in a way that no longer favor them, and they had no way of transitioning. They had no way of adapting. They have no way of adapting. So you have to have an exit strategy, and you have to have strategy for adapting in YouTube as it changes. There are people who have adapted and grown, and some of them do better than others. Some of them, whenever the changes happen, it's the new revival of their channel instead of the death of it. And that means there's new opportunities for a lot of people. And it may not be you today, but tomorrow it might be someone else, or it might be you. So understand that the disruption and change is an opportunity if you are willing to adapt. I'm going to get to some of your comments. I just want to mention some of these super chats. Eric Brito, thank you for the $2 super chat. General Musician, I took your advice on better thumbnails from last Friday and got a wow from Nick Nimmin. Thanks a ton, man. Oh, well, that's awesome, General Musician, and thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Appreciate it. And if you get a shout out from Nick Nimmin, that's high praise indeed. Egg Luck, hey Roberto, appreciate your bluntness and advice. Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate the $1.99 super chat. Thanks so much. King's Blue Therapy 247, $5 super chat. Thank you so much, dude. I'm grateful for you. You're pushing me to be better. Thank you. Christ-Centered Ironworks. Dude, I remember we did a channel review with you. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. $10 Canadian from Triple L. Thanks for the advice. I haven't been able to produce videos fast enough rate for the 90-day plan, but I found a lot of search-friendly terms and video topics that were unexpectedly popular. Well, that's great. Thank you for the $10 Canadian. And yes, sometimes you won't always have the time to do what you want to do, and that's okay. It happens to the best of us. And then SC Chishuda, and I think I'm pronouncing that right, $5. Really appreciate you. Yeah, there's a difference between trolls and constructive criticism. Criticism in itself is not always useful, but constructive criticism is. And constructive criticism is well-meaning, and it's accurate, actionable advice. Just remember that. It's accurate, actionable advice. And what do I mean by that? Constructive criticism would be, hey, I noticed your audio levels were off. Here is a technique in Adobe Audition to correct your audio levels. Or, hey, you might want to adjust the microphone, or hey, you might want to buy this different microphone. That would be constructive criticism because it's well-intentioned, it's accurate, it's stating what the problem is, it's offering a solution to the problem, and it's meant as advice that you can take or leave rather than an assertion of you being good or bad. And so that is what accurate, actionable advice looks like, aka real constructive criticism. Criticism is just throwing out an unsolicited opinion. So, you know, that's the difference. Trolls are just trying to mess with you in some way. The thing is, trolls don't expect me to go the direction I go, and they don't expect me to do it and still look good, and they don't expect me to be able to articulate an argument in real time, and that's why I like to punch back, and that's why I like to swing, because when trolls come for me, they're coming for the wrong one, and, you know, troll slayer, that's all I got to say about it, you know. The Radical Talk says, still private even after selling to Google. Well, I guess Google's a privately held company now reincorporated under Alphabet, so they're still shareholders to answer to. YouTube is a company, but it's a subsidiary of Google, so they're owned. YouTube was only independent from February of 2005 through November of 2016 when they were acquired for, I think, like $1.8 billion, I think was the amount. They're definitely valued much higher than that, so it was a steal for the time frame that we're talking about. Now, that means that YouTube was only operating independently for roughly, I'd say, 18 to 20 months, which means the majority of the lifespan of the platform, with it now being 2018, 13 years after its inception, it's a teenager, and so it's been with Google for more than 10 years, and so that means there was no semblance for the majority of you of what YouTube looked like pre-Google. A lot of you have fantasized that Google acquired it much later than that. They did not. It was founded, the website was founded and started in February 2005. It was acquired before the end of 2016. That's not a lot of time. That's like, what, 21 months, 22 months, something like that? It's the infancy of a platform comparatively. So if we wanted to make an argument, we could say 2 years. It's a stretch, but it's 2 years out of 13. The last 11 years, Google has owned YouTube. And everything that you recognize in terms of the search capacity, the current comment section, the algorithms, all of that was circa Google. And as for the modern algorithm that we interpret, that was started by a gentleman that I believe was either from Norway or Sweden or one of those Baltic places in 2010. I forget what the acqui-hire or the acquisition of that talent was, but he was the father of the foundation of what we commonly know as the algorithm today. He left after changes in 2013 or restructuring. He wasn't fired. I think he just went to start his own company, if I remember correctly, the history here. But the algorithm has been adapted and built on top of that since then. It leverages machine learning and automations now. It's a black box, but we know the corners of the black box. We've covered that in other live streams here before. So yes, YouTube is a privately held company under a privately held company, aka Google in that case. So yes, just to answer that question, to give you some of the histrionics of Google and YouTube and the relationship there. So that's where I'm going with that. And that's just a history lesson. I think somebody did a brief history of YouTube. I think Foot of a Ferret did. That's actually one of my favorite channels to watch, and his series of brief history of, so that is pretty dope. Yep. Reading some of your comments here, by the way. I'm just looking at some of your comments to see where we're going. Victoria Vaden asks, how would you promote your live stream to your subbies if you don't have the community tab? My secondary channel has the discussion tab, and a lot of subbies miss that notification. In general, get people to get on your notification squad as much as possible. Consider using Twitter. If you don't have Twitter and you're a YouTuber, you absolutely should have Twitter. So that's key, in my opinion. And I would do that. I would definitely do that. How soon is too soon that you're going to promote that you're going to do a live stream? First of all, consider scheduling your live streams a couple of hours or even a couple of days in advance, and that will definitely help. Then you have a countdown kind of mode to that, and then I would schedule and automate some tweets to promote it. The top of the hour, then the half hour until you're on, and then 15 minutes, and then 5 minutes, and then when you're on, and then 5 minutes and 10 minutes after, and schedule those things. And I think that would definitely help you. Dante asks, what about cross-platforming? Cross-platforming is important. A diversity strategy could be important. However, from a time management standpoint, you have to figure out what your priority is and what grows you the most and what you want to focus on and what also is easy, medium, and hard, and you want to prioritize kind of based on that. The Anarchist asks, at what point should I ask my supporters to crowdfund my feature film? When you think you need the cash. When you think you need the cash. Christ X Illman asks, with Google AdSense, how much do you make per view on your YouTube videos? My rate's abnormal, so you can't go off of that. There's no normal in YouTube. It's a variable equation, and then you have to account for the advertiser bidding war in the platform that's called Google AdWords. And then it also depends on what niche you're in and what the available ad inventory is. So there's really no way to answer that question, and there's no point in answering that question, because whatever my numbers are, your numbers won't be that, so it doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do you any good. There's no normalization for those numbers. There are averages people throw out, but they don't account for niche, genre, demographics, or any of that, or the content type. And they also don't account for seasonality, advertiser availability, top of the quarter versus end of the quarter, the fact that Q2 and Q4 are really strong for some niches. Q1 is terrible for everybody. Q3 depends. So it doesn't really, there's no point in going there because it won't add up for what your thing is. everything, it's all different. So that's Creator Convo said, did you say 2006 or 2016? 2006. Google acquired YouTube in 2006. That's what most people don't get. It really does kind of matter to put it into perspective. Valdez Brown, thank you for the $5 super chat. Creator Convo, thank you for the $5 super chat. Want to say thanks for the video on how I manage my mental health. Your words carry so much weight. This is Jimmy Changa, by the way. Thank you so much, man. Super appreciate that. Dynamics Media Marketing Agency LLC. Wow, that's awesome. I'm glad to see another marketer in the house. Hey, Roberto, what do you think of comprehensive review channels? I dig comprehensive review channels. I love when Jared Polin and Terry White and people like Tony and Chelsea Northup do those, especially for gear that I'm going to invest in. So I love those. I love channels that do comprehensive reviews of products. Haler Druber says, Smash JT is an excellent channel. Roberto would be smart to hear him out even if he disagrees. Hallie, appreciate your opinion. And the answer is no, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be smart to spend time on someone's channel when they don't present with what's called acting in good faith, which means that the way that he presented himself and the way he presented his stuff does not respect my time. Because you can disagree with somebody, but it's the way that you approach them, and it's about reading the room and reading people's temperament. I'm an entrepreneur. An investment of my time, it's not a matter of whether I disagree with someone, it's a matter of whether I agree with how they come at me and how they present to me. And as a business person, one of the first things you learn is, if you want somebody to hear you out and give you and not tune you out, is you learn how to present from acting in a place of good faith and good intentions. And when he starts going at a topic in a certain way and with a certain tone, which is totally his right, I have the right to say screw you and not give you, because you undermine your argument. You undermine your argument if you don't present and let the other person feel comfortable with you and get them to understand where you're coming from. And you have to do that on their terms, because they don't owe you hearing you out on anything. No one owes you the 5 minutes out of their day that they could be tucking their kids in, running their business, making out with their spouse. Nobody owes you that time. No one owes you listening to them if they immediately alienate you or make you feel uncomfortable or make you feel disrespected. If they do that in any way, shape, or form, you have no obligation to hear them out or to spend time on them. And that's just real. You know, and if you're saying that I'm no different than people who, than YouTube for silencing those who disagree with my standpoint, and if I don't see the problem, then I aren't any better, guess what? I'm going to counter your argument. I'm going to counter your argument really easily, because I can. And that's maybe that's some ego on my part. I don't know. I'm entitled to that. Everybody's entitled to how they feel. And also, I can back my thing up with facts. Here's the fact. Here is the fact. The fact is that any business and any social media platform and any IT company has the right to dictate their terms of service, how they make money, and nobody owes you the ability on their free platform that you're not even paying for, with their server space, to subsidize your content for free, to subsidize anything that creates a liability for them or their business for free, and even if it's paid. And that is actually dictated by the rule of law in this country. That is dictated by the rule of law in this country. Your feelings about it and your feelings about free speech are relevant in the fact that the law of the land of the United States of America does not consider that to be a free speech issue with regard to how a private company or corporation or technology platform chooses to operate. And we have learned that, especially with all the scandals and all the hearings and all these things, and the federal government doesn't even have any interest in mandating that, because they don't want to actually crush innovation and the opportunity for people to compete with Facebook and YouTube and Google and things like that, because if they enforce regulations and they do that, then no competition will have, because they have the money to comply with federal regulations and a startup company does not. So from YouTube's standpoint, they don't have to do that. In addition to that, On my platform, especially a platform where I market myself and a platform that is here for me to do as I see fit and to exercise my rights, I have no obligation to give someone else access to my platform, access to my audience, access to me. That is not something I have to do. It is no different than if you were a guest in my home and you do anything that I disagree with or anything I don't like or anything that makes me uncomfortable, or I just want to go to bed right now and don't want to continue entertaining you, I can kick you out. And that's not problematic, and that's not silencing someone. It's that everyone has the right to be respected and everyone has the right to give people access to them, and you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. This is not a town square. I will tell you flat out, as I've said many times, and especially in my Emperor Palpatine voice, that this is my platform. This is my dictatorship. It is not a democracy. You know, as the Emperor would say. And that's just the reality and the truth. That's just the reality and the truth. I wouldn't go to somebody else's platform, hijack their platform, and force them to listen to me, or tell them that if they don't listen to me, that that's a problem, because I don't have that right. I don't have that right. It's not in accordance with the rule of law. It's not an actual free speech issue, and it's about respect. It's about respect. I have no problem debating someone or hearing someone out if they come to me from a place of respect, and if they back what they're saying with facts and not feelings, because I really may not give a crap about their feelings, or I may not. I may or may not. That's my choice, right? So that's what the deal is, and that's what the issue with YouTube is. And to try to it's intellectually dishonest and it's gaslighting to suggest that if you do this, you're smart, versus if you do that, you're smart. If what you're saying makes me smart is the thing that you want me to do, that's subversive and it's intellectually dishonest. To imply that I'm smart to do this and that I'm wrong if I do that, that is like straight up double talk if you want to go 1984. And that's also trying to subvert somebody with gaslighting. And it's intellectually dishonest, and I see it for what it is. Now, that might not be what your intention is, but that's what the execution of it is. And so you guys just got, you know, a taste of, like, how I debate people, and that's fine. But this is what you will put up with, by the way, as a YouTube creator, is you will put up with people telling you how to think, how to operate, how to run your channel, how to run your business, and will want to have an opinion about everything you do. And they're not entitled to that. And the answer to that is you literally can delete or ban them, because you do not owe people a platform for their free speech on your platform for your free speech. You do not owe anyone sharing the damn stage with them, to be blunt with you. And that's, you know, that's just what it is. Also, I do, as someone's pointing out here, sometimes I get tired of hearing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, especially when I've used facts or evidence to or data to dispute it, and that's fine. That's fine. That's whatever. And again, people are entitled to their feelings and their opinion. They're just not always entitled to take up my time to voice it or to debate it. And that's certain it. And again, I've wasted enough of the audience's time on this particular thing, because as much as they probably enjoy me rambling on and on and on and on, the reality is more of you would love to know how to make money on YouTube and make money on your channel. Because if people, instead of debating with me every minute about every little nitpicky thing they do, I could tell them how to be successful on a political channel on YouTube if they actually wanted to hear it and if they actually wanted to listen. But 99% of people don't want to execute on that because they just want to use their feelings instead of facts, as Philip DeFranco would say. So they don't want to know how to be successful and make money on YouTube doing that thing, because it can be done whether you're right-leaning or left-leaning if you're actually capable, and if you have a good business model that isn't entirely dependent on AdSense, which is a fool's errand anyway. Because, by the way, you want to talk about who's really getting crushed and who's really getting silenced on YouTube? Prank channels and commentary channels, aka YouTube drama channels. But it's like, you want to talk about channels getting demonetized? Like, I hear a lot of people whining about political channels, but you know, prank channels are practically dead, right? Some gaming channels that use Grand Theft Auto or first-person shooters especially, they're gone. They're gone. And that's not even political per se, but now there's a liability issue with certain things, and they were already suffering because of copyright. You know, animation channels suffer in the algorithm because of watch time. But everybody's got their crucible. Everyone's got their cross to bear, right? You know. No one wants to evolve and pivot. Everyone wants a platform to bend their rules and bend to their whims, and the platform is evil because it doesn't do that, because God forbid any platform should want to be capitalistic and prioritize making money versus giving everybody their wish list and then going bankrupt and into the ground, like, oh, I don't know, VidMe. How about that one? That one tried to cater to everybody's sensibilities. VidMe, what happened? They didn't make enough money. Vessel, I thought that was supposed to be the YouTube killer. It went under. Anyone remember Vidler? Anyone remember Vidler? But oh, we want platforms and we don't want to pay for anything like Vimeo, and then we want to complain every minute about everything that's not a technical issue, right? So, God, I wish this was something stronger than water right now. But you know, I digress. I digress. Valdez Brown, thank you for the tips today. $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Adana, trolls want reaction. They want to make you mad. They make me a little bit mad, but I think I make them more mad because I think I burst their bubble. Instaburst, hey Roberto, I thought I saw a video you were saying how to get more likes on videos, but can't find it. No, I don't have one on getting more likes on videos. It's usually more views or more subs or more watch time. I may not have published the more watch time one. I have to look and see if I've done that. Oh, I'll give you guys a hack right now for getting more watch time on YouTube. So there's a misconception that average watch time is what you need to be overwhelmingly concerned about. I wouldn't, as much as I would be concerned about average retention being over 50%. And I wouldn't make your videos shorter if you feel like the watch time is a little bit low. Anything over 2 minutes on average watch time is actually pretty good, believe it or not. But the averages are take them with a grain of salt, because the people at the lowest end that are like dropping off in 10 or 30 seconds, that might have just been the wrong viewer or something like that, are nerfing your averages. So don't take that as much to heart. In fact, longer videos help you, so I don't know about necessarily making shorter videos. But I would say is that if you can make a series of videos, you can improve overall channel watch time. Individual video watch time does help cumulatively, but I would say that longer form content really can help support the authoritative part of your channel. And some people want depth, but also frequency of uploads, definitely a big deal, and making those compatible videos so that they can be recommended. And here's another thing you should do. You should make like maybe 3 unique keywords / tags for your channel specifically, like what your channel name is or what your name is and things like that. You should make like 3 of these, and you should put those 3 branded tags in every video in addition to your SEO tags, because that will help your videos be related to each other, and that will help your videos recommend each other, and they'll kind of boost each other so you can get views that way, and that really helps you out. Instaburst, also, getting more likes on a video just makes you feel good. I know that there have been case studies where people have said that there's a tendency for videos that have higher like ratios to perform better. That's correlation, it's not causation. They aren't performing better because they get more likes. It's just that things that people like are things that usually get viewed more, and it's not because of it. It's just something that is correlated. And that's anything, right? That's anything. Anything that's popular is usually well liked or well received. So just kind of like take that for what it is, and don't read too much into it. And now Liz says, Roberto, if you're taking questions, say I have some really awesome content but no one sees it, how can someone promote their content so it actually gets seen? Ask for people to share it and promote it in places where you're allowed to put it. So I would say that. You know, so that's my thing. Let's see. So what do we got? All things. Nelly says, well handled, Roberto Blake. You did really well. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate you. Instaverse says, thanks, Roberto. Roberto, if a video did not do well, will the next video have less views? It depends on the video. There are ways to fight past that. I know that people talk about that, and it becomes something that people say quite often, but the reality is that you can actually punch through. If you look at my channel, there have been videos that bomb and then videos that take off. You can always punch through if you make a good video, and if you get the view velocity increased in the first hour or the first day. If you just promote the video more on your own in social media, or you ask your followers to help you promote it, then it will be more likely. Not to mention, you can tap into demand. Like, I'll show you an example of somebody who used a really strong strategy that I gave him for tapping into awareness in his niche. It's my friend Jason Lewis from Painfully Honest Tech. So I'll show you what he did, so you guys can see a real example of how you tap into this, because this is what's gonna teach you. Like, how you, even if you have a channel that's small, and even if you're not getting views, that won't necessarily destroy you in any meaningful way. Like, you can do something to turn your channel completely around, and it's really straightforward if you can tap into attention. So I'm going to show you that with my friend Jason stuff here. So this is Jason Lewis, Painfully Honest Tech. So let's go back to how his channel was doing not too long ago. You'll notice that with a few exceptions, even with 50,000 plus subscribers, he was not getting views all the time. You could have a video that gets 30K views, and then 1.9, and then 700, and then 17,000, and then 7, and then 1, and 1, and 1, and then 800, and then he has some of these breakout videos that do well. Then he had like a whole week of videos mostly tanking, and then he does the returning his Samsung Galaxy S9, and then he does a video that we came up with a strategy for a whole new series for him, because I based this on a video that he did that didn't get a lot of views back in December. There was a video that he did that I remembered back in December about whether you should trust tech YouTubers, and it performed okay, but it wasn't anything spectacular. But I thought it was such a great idea, and I told him after that, when he did one-on-one coaching with me, that, hey, you should make a series about individual tech YouTubers and whether or not you feel that their reviews are trustworthy or not. So he takes this idea, as well as a couple of other ones that we came up with a strategy for from our one-on-one coaching session, and he does this video on MKBHD right after MKBHD wins his Shorty Award. And we also change a thumbnail strategy, because you noticed, like, the thumbnail strategy changes, and, you know, he does that. It's almost at 250,000 views after 2 weeks. Explosive growth. Almost never had that on the channel before. He gets in on the Linus Tech Tips thing and does a parody kind of funny thing, and it does okay. It does 15K views, and he did it on the fly. He does Rest in Peace iPhone 10, because I told him, tap into, when there are headlines in tech and it's controversial, tap into it. And he does the iPhone 10 is dead, and gets 500,000 views on that. He does Lou from Unbox Therapy. He does 38K views. The podcast, we're still working on a strategy for the podcast. He taps into the iPhone Red product, and I told him to cover it with a certain angle, and it does it well. He tackles one of his friends, Drew from Tylosa Tech. We came up with another series idea, if brands were painfully honest, and we came up with a strategy for formatting the titles for that. You know, if brand was painfully honest, and then pipe, and then painfully honest tech to relate it to his show. So we do the same thing with these Can You Trust videos, and that's starting to work out. He figured out a new design based on the YouTube starter kit for how he wanted to approach his podcast episodes and make that more episodic, and that's starting to do a little bit better. He does a 6 months later thing for Painfully Honest Reviews. We decided that all the reviews will be branded. All the product reviews will now be branded as Painfully Honest Reviews, for him to brand that and capitalize on that. He did another podcast episode, well, no, he did a live Q&A. That didn't perform nearly as well. Sometimes they just don't. And now he did this Can You Trust Jonathan Morrison, which is TLD Today. I happen to like Jonathan's content, but I also think that this is going to be one where he goes more negative, because he has his difference of opinion on Jonathan's stuff, and I understand where he's coming from. It's either or. whether you can trust some of these guys' reviews or not, I would say that I like them and I like their content, but honesty in tech reviews is something that Jason addressed back in December, and I thought he had some good points, especially about sponsored stuff and about making stuff feel like an ad. And he talked about some important topics, but it barely got 5K views since December. He takes a different approach to the same points that he made, but then goes into applying those points to individual tech YouTubers, and it's wildly successful. And the demand on it and his comments engagements, he gets 10 times the comments on, like, or more. Actually, it was 10 to 20. I think we did a measurement, and it was on average 10 to 20 times the comments he was getting on any other video. And if brands were paying for the lines, that's doing really well for a new series as well. So this idea of doing series, this idea of structuring the titles, of doing these branded thumbnails, of doing related videos, and even this title structuring, massive change. You saw it for yourself, a massive change to the channel of going from like barely getting like hundreds or thousands of views sometimes, especially buying all these expensive tech products, and we found an angle for a tech channel that would allow him, without even doing expensive product reviews all the time, to do this. And I gave him a production strategy for getting more out of these things, especially if he ends up returning them in the 30-day period, of how to get more B-roll, and we came up with a strategy for filming differently and changing set pieces and angles and things of that nature. So we covered a lot in our one-on-one coaching, but you could see the drastic difference it made on Jason's channel to do that. And when we did our consult, he was just over 40,000 subscribers, and we did this, like, I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he did a massive jump. I think he jumped like 10,000 subscribers in under a month, which is not normal for him, and it took him a long time to get where he is. So, and he's still getting massive growth from this stuff even now if you look up his Social Blade stuff. So I mean, that made a big difference in his channel, and by applying a lot of what we've talked about, like, that could make a difference for you guys too. That could be massive. So, you know, those are things that I think are important. Someone brought up, I really loved reading Peter McKinnon's way of reaching out to photography blogs and sites to get his content shared. Yes, more of you can and should do that. You absolutely should do that. Creator Combo said, I heard that some people get a high off of likes, and this creates a chemical reaction in their brain, and the minute their likes decrease, they become obsessed and addicted to get more, or else they crumble. In YouTube in general, it's actually like that. YouTube in general, there's a dopamine addiction to some people for attention. That's why I'm glad that my addiction is work and productivity and incremental improvement of actual things and never attention. I'm glad that that's my vice. It's bad though. Being a workaholic is a bad vice, to be very real with you. But it's better than the attention seeking. So that's something that I keep in mind. But I understand that yes, the success in general, success, whether you tie it to money or attention or fame, can become an addiction, and just be very cognitive of that, and always have people in your life that can give you a reality check, and that you focus on things that matter a lot more. So, you know. Fiberific, hey, how's it going? So you're a featured creator at VidCon. What sort of talks or panels are you doing? So we might do a fourth one, but I know that I'm on a panel with my good friends Karen Cavett and Charlie Marie from Charlie Marie TV. That's Charlie Marie Prangley. And they're both designers and DIYers and YouTubers, and they're just like some of the most fantastic and creative people I've ever met. I think they're more talented than me, to be very real with you. Subscriber counts aside, both of these girls are much more talented than me. So you'll see for yourself at the panel. And then I'm on a panel with my friends Rob Sandy from vidIQ, Daryl Eves, and Tim Schmoyer, and we're doing that one for the industry track. Me, Karen, and Charlie are doing that the creator track, and our panel will be about personal branding and your visuals and how to stand out and things of that nature. And then I'm doing Mastering Your Content Strategy as my solo creator track panel. And I'm doing that one on, I believe that one's on my birthday, on June 21st. So that's going to be rad. VidCon's always on my birthday. So that's going to be a fun time. And so those are the panels. And I'm going to try and film everything, and hopefully the video comes out well. Desi Wetzel, how are you, Desi? Appreciate you. Roberta, I have the series, 10 videos in the hopper and ready to go. How often should I release the videos? In your case, release them every other day. That way you have a 48-hour cycle to promote them in social media, and that will help you, and that will keep you sane. So I would do that, and that's how I would do those 10 videos. So I would maybe every other day or every 3 days to give you the ability to do a promotion cycle, and then when the series is done, promote the series every single day. All Things Nelly says, how would you post a video to Reddit? I wouldn't. I would encourage my community to post it to Reddit because you can't self-promote. The Click asks, are the companies or an avenue to have someone who is successful to look at a small creator's channel and see whether it's gotten incrementally better, provide feedback, whether positive or negative? Aside from hiring somebody to do an evaluation or a review like myself or Sonny Leonarduzzi or Tim Schmeierdel or Eves, no. But aside from that, I don't believe there are people who offer that service aside from us. Those of us who are in the coaching arena, Nick Nimmin and Brian G. Johnson as well. But other than that, no. But to be honest with you, even before you try to do that, if you want feedback, you should join a Facebook group or a community of some other kind, because then you can get feedback from the community that may or may not be professional advice, but it could be the advice that's closer to what your audience feels, which that could be valuable. And I also turn to my audience for a lot of times to help me self-evaluate and critique, but I take it with a grain of salt sometimes. So there's that. Jesse Baldwin, don't use the small YouTuber code, use YouTube Smart. Let me update that. If you're for the discount, I need to update that because I think small YouTuber expired as a discount. I think for the discount for the YouTube Starter Kit, try using YouTube Smart. So I'm going to update that for you. Thank you for the heads up there. Yeah, use YouTube Smart for a discount. So I'm going to update that. This is the discount code that you want to use. Discount code is YouTube Smart. So, yeah. Unbox Warehouse, you took my advice on the thumbnails and you've gotten a lot more comments about the new style. Appreciate that. That's awesome. That is rad. It seems for me, Sylvia with Love says, Roberto, it seems to me that going live gets me more views than my vlogs. Then maybe you do more live streams, or maybe you do live vlogs and you become a live caster. That could work for you. Yeah, if you are someone who wants me to do one-on-one coaching with you or to do a review, I offer that on awesomecreatoracademy.com as well. So the clique, definitely reach out there, or any of you can definitely reach out on that for awesomecreatoracademy.com to do coaching or do one-on-one or to buy the YouTube Starter Kit. So yeah, Reddit's huge for you guys. Don't underestimate Reddit and Twitter. Reddit and Twitter are huge. Reddit and Twitter are massively huge for you guys. Like, there's so much opportunity there. So, by the way, if you guys didn't know, I wrote a comprehensive article, and I cover equipment and camera settings and everything, audio equipment, highlighting monetization so much in this article. But really quick, if there are any of the political YouTube channels around or still watching and everything like that, and they got past my whole like stop calling it free speech like thing and that whole rant about businesses and money mattering and liability and things of that nature, I'll tell you how to how you make money on a political channel. And me and John Prosser actually talked about in general how you can make money outside of AdSense. We did a comprehensive 3-hour live stream, not live stream, podcast episode that was all about making money on YouTube and how like even small channels can make $250,000 a year. So if I was doing a politics channel, I would not even bother probably monetizing it with AdSense. I would monetize it for getting YouTube Red for watch time, and now they have sponsors, which means your community, your viewers can sponsor you by paying a subscription fee of like $5 a month, which is different than Patreon, and they can do it directly with YouTube. YouTube takes 30% of that, which is better than the 55-45 ad revenue split that everyone clamors over, right? So those are the direct monetizations on the platform. You can enable monetization for Super Chat, which means if your political channel gets to over a certain amount of subs for you to do YouTube Live and 1,000 for you to take Super Chats, then you can do a politics channel and you can get Super Chats from your community, and you can make literally hundreds of dollars per stream, if not more, if people like what you're putting out there, which actually would be better than the AdSense revenue, and you get a better split from YouTube on that. So if people are really adamant about wanting to put their opinion and their point of view out there and they want to do politics, the way that you would do it is this. You would use the 10-tier revenue model strategy that I talk about in my business lectures and on the business content on this channel that none of you are watching because you only want the YouTube advice stuff and how to grow and get views, right? But my real stuff is the money-making stuff on YouTube or outside of YouTube that I put on YouTube is much more practical for some of you, to be very real with you. But there are like 10 ways of monetizing like a YouTube channel, and AdSense is just one of them. And so if advertisers don't want to advertise on politics channels, and I explained why I don't want to as an advertiser, I buy ads for my products and my services and my things, and like that's the thing. I do not want to put my ad before you raging at Hillary or Donald on whatever crap they're doing, because I just want to sell stuff. Again, capitalism. I love it. I love capitalism. It's amazing. So anyone who wants to sell stuff really doesn't want, like, you're not going to buy off of an ad that goes on before that. That's just real, okay? So if you're doing a politics channel, screw AdSense, because advertisers are done, okay? Now, you get money from YouTube Red based on watch time for the collective pool of people who are YouTube Red subscribers who happen to be watching your channel, which means they're watching your channel without ads. Anyway, so those people who are YouTube Red subscribers, you don't get ads, but you get a pool based on watch time. You get some money out of that. And that might not be a lot, but it's better than nothing. But you could be doing live streams, and then you get these super chats, and you can make hundreds or thousands of dollars if you are in demand and if your audience actually has money to spend. So you could do that. And then, of course, there is merchandise. Selling things, the beauty of capitalism. Sell merchandise, sell things to your audience and make more money and a higher margin than you do on pennies of the dollar of ads, which you cannot control the inventory, distribution, the bidding rate. The ads are so ridiculously unreliable to where I really struggle sometimes to understand the obsession with ad revenue, unless you're a kid or something. Like so from a practical standpoint, sell things to your audience. Now we have sponsors, so you have a built-in subscription model into your YouTube channel if you don't want to set up a subscription site, which is what I did. And then if you're talking about politics, God, what's that channel? What's that freaking, oh, they used to be on cable television. They used to be on current TV. Young Turks, that's the one. All right, Young Turks. The guy from Jersey, Cenk Uygur, right? they have a subscription service that their audience can subscribe to where they get supplementary content. Just like how I have like a subscription service for my mentoring program, you set up a monthly membership thing around your politics channel for whatever, if you can do that, if your audience has the money, and then you have a recurring revenue stream that's completely independent of YouTube. You own your own platform. So you own your own platform. You sell merchandise. Now you have a physical, tangible product in exchange for money. You can do the super chat thing I talked about. You do the YouTube the YouTube Red ad revenue, well, not ad revenue, but revenue on watch time. They can do the $4.99 donation sponsorship thing every month for you, and you have that. The other thing you do is you also set up some ancillary digital download product, and that could be in the form of an ebook. So if you're doing a politics channel, you might as well be a published author and elevate your public profile, and you might as well set up some kind of thing to do speaking engagements and do public appearances anyway, and you might as well do that. If you're doing a political commentary YouTube channel, you might as well do a podcast and then monetize that with affiliate links and selling your own products and merchandise and selling your subscription service. So you might as well do that, and then you're building out an actual business. You're building out an actual business. I have a friend who's doing this right now. He's a libertarian, but he's inviting people from all spectrums to his thing because he wants everyone's money. He wants everyone's money, and he wants everyone's attention, and he's going to build a real brand. So if you were a politics channel, instead of whining, complaining about the YouTube platform, you build out a real business based on market demand and business principles and politics. You diversify revenue streams instead of crying about AdSense, and then you don't worry about the algorithm and the suppression because you build ancillary platforms for distribution in the form of your podcast network, your website and blog, and things of that nature. You diversified your revenue streams, you tier these out, and then because you have multiple distributions of your content, you can actually multiply these revenue streams, and then you have residual income, you have recurring income, residual being also passive, you have direct sales opportunities, and then you also can use this platform to then jumpstart a career as an author or as a public speaker on top of everything else, giving you another active revenue stream and another passive revenue stream at the same time. You can grow your email list from this, and then you can also have that as direct access to your audience regardless of platform. So if you did that, then it wouldn't matter what type of content you do because you have diversity of platform to protect you, you have diversity of revenue to protect you, and then you have absolute direct access to your audience vis-a-vis your newsletter, and then you don't worry about algorithm shifts, you don't worry about policy changes, and you don't worry about platform changes because you're in more control if you do that. And then you can stop crying in my YouTube live streams about what YouTube's doing to you. And then you probably stop caring about politics, and then you tank your brand because when you're making enough money, you really don't care because you realize that regardless of who's in power or whatever they do, that it probably doesn't affect you so much aside from whatever you're paying in taxes. And again, rant over. You know, because, you know, and that's how you build a real business. That's how you build a real business. Oh yeah, and I forgot affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is fantastic, and you could do that. Like, so, you know. So to my, like, who was it? My 2 or 3 political commentator channels, aka possibly people trolling or whatever. If you're still around or you're lurking in the shadows or you're whining about me suppressing your free speech, I also just gave you a viable strategy that would let you build a $250,000 a year business leveraging the internet technology that you are so adamantly against because you think it's somehow aggressively hurting you because of your difference of opinion, when it's actually just hurting you because you're not good business people. And I know that was harsh, and I know that was blunt, and I know there are going to be people who don't love that and everything like that, but I'm a bloody capitalist, and I don't like people whining. I love meritocracy. It's a sport. You can cry and take your ball and go home because you don't like how the game is played and everything like that, or you can show up and you can hustle, and you can stop crying, and you can, like, you know, stop wanting a freaking 8th place trophy. So, yeah, there's that. But anyway, let's move on to some of your questions. Love the attitude. Thank you, Piper. Pipe Cleaner Crafts. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Cinda Blitz. Roberto, do you recommend people watch your How to Make Money Online playlist for being a political channel? Yes. Making money online is the game. It's not worrying about YouTube AdSense. It's about making money online. It's about that diversity of revenue. It's about making your 20 freaking revenue streams. Yes, 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 a million times yes. Oh, and product development, that's coming soon. I'll talk more about that. Product development's a big deal. Roberto, can you make a step-by-step video on what you would do when getting started on selling things online, or do you already have one? Creator Convo, I have a couple of videos around the concept of selling and approaching it, and I would recommend those. And I'm going to get more into that because I think a lot of people actually don't understand selling psychology, which is like a lecture I could do. Selling psychology is important. The diversity of revenue streams, massively, massively important. Diversifying a product pipeline is important. Diversifying distribution streams, creating redundancy, building in things that answer the objections and barriers to sales into your overall strategy, developing your marketing funnel and pipeline, figuring out whether you want to leverage more content marketing versus paid advertising, earned media versus paid media. Like, so much content I've got to make, but like those things all matter. And there are a lot of people who actually serve those needs. I mean, I would recommend that you check out my friend Pat Flynn. I would recommend you check out Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, Gillian Perkins. There's a wealth of great entrepreneur, Brian Tracy. There's a wealth of great entrepreneurial knowledge on YouTube that would make you successful online to a point to where if you wanted to do anything else online for a hobby, you would be financially capable of supporting yourself independently doing it. I can do YouTube, and I can do YouTube my way. I can say whatever I want, and YouTube can throttle it, demonetize it, whatever, and I will still make thousands of dollars hand over fist because I figured out how to make myself sustainable online, independent of any single platform or any single revenue stream. And that's what I want so much for people. And again, it's hard because people will make excuses and they'll place the blame. Everything is my fault. Like, very real. Everything is my fault. The video doesn't get views? My fault. Screw the algorithm. It's my fault. I didn't make a catchy enough headline. I didn't make a good enough thumbnail. I didn't promote it enough. I didn't ask people to share it. It is on me. It is my fault if a video does not cross a certain view threshold. It is on me. It is on nobody else. It is on me. I take it on my own shoulders. I am successful because at the end of the day, I will put everything on my own shoulders and I will drag it to the freaking finish line. That is what it takes. And if you ever in your life are going to blame anything else or anyone else for where you are at or your lack of success, it is going to be 10 times harder for you than if you would just put it on your own shoulders and carry it. Sylvia's with loves. My daughter started to sell slime at school. She made $45 in a week. That is excellent hustle. That is excellent hustle. I used to do cool stuff like that when I was a kid. My version of it was canned soda was really cheap back in the day, and they didn't have vending machines at the schools yet. So I would then I would take $2, get 24 cans of soda, and I would sell the individual cans of soda for $1. And if it was really a hot day, I'd sell them for $2, and people would pay it. And I would just put a bag of ice in my duffel bag at the beginning of the day, and this was a hard logistics problem eventually to figure out, but usually I was fine because I would sell out super early after a while, so the logistics didn't become nearly as problematic. So I was sitting there, I was buying the $2 cases of soda back in the day, and this is like when I was a kid. This was like years ago. This might have been like 15, 16 years ago. Maybe longer. And what I did was, because I'm 34, so it's like, actually it's much longer than that. It was like 20 years, it was more than 20 years ago. So what I was doing is I was loading up, I was paying $2, and then by the time I was selling out these sodas, because it was a case of like 12, and I would buy like 24 of them. If I was buying it for $2, I would sell the individual cans, and I was making like what for a kid was decent money, like doing this on a daily basis, because there was no vending machine to compete with at that time. So, yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, again, this is back in the day when, like, you know, that was a viable strategy. And eventually I kind of sort of got in trouble, but then I, like, read stuff in the student handbook to where I actually was able to refute it. So they stopped me doing it, but they didn't punish me because I was able to use the rules to my advantage. Jaden Walter Games, what are the best ways for monetizing an up-and-coming gaming channel these days? Until you get sponsors, it's merch. Merch, 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 merch. You gotta sell that merch, 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 merch. You guys didn't know I could do that, right? Nick Francis, yeah, the toy channels, review channels are so big. My little brother watches them every day. Yeah, toy review channels can be big if they're executed well. Creator combo, yeah, the selling psychology is a big deal. Instaburst, Roberto, my niche is a high point entry month or 2 weeks when new toys come out, or what would you recommend I do with hype around when toys are low? I'm not sure. I would have to think about that. I'm probably going to interview some toy review channels. I'm going to interview some toy review channels while I'm at some of these things, and I would get more insight from them because it's a very specific niche, and I don't want to try to tell you something that I don't fully comprehend or that I don't have context on. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know something I don't. The toy niche is massively difficult and challenging, and there's a lot of variables there. So I'd rather ask a toy channel what's up, and I'd rather interview them and get them to tell you because they know. So that's where I would go with that. TubeBuddy versus vidIQ, both plus MORNINGFAME plus Social Blade. vidIQ, TubeBuddy, and MORNINGFAME and Social Blade, not even kidding. All of them. All of them. I use all of them, and you should, if you can afford it. If you can afford it. Positive Udo. No, posting every day isn't the key if it's not sustainable for you. If it's not sustainable for you. If it is, then yes. But if not, then no. And also, you have to have met at least a threshold of acceptable quality for your niche, and then daily is okay at that point. Ebony LM, it's not that TubeBuddy so much helps you get that, it's that if you use it properly, those things will improve. It's a tool. It's about how you use it ultimately. So that's where I would go with that. What do I think? QB Art says, what do you think about digital art speed painting tutorial channels? I used to do that stuff all the time. I love them. But if you wanted to do one successfully, I think you have to tap into mainstream awareness, which means right now I would have been doing like Marvel, Infinity War stuff. Like last year I would have been doing Game of Thrones stuff. I'd be doing DC stuff right now. Whenever the Harry Potter stuff comes out, I would have been doing that. Star Wars, obviously, with Solo and things coming out. So I would have a digital speed art channel, if it taps into the mainstream pop culture, could do really well right now, and I would be tapping into television shows and movies and doing that. Now, granted, the competitive part about that is that some people may not be interested in that as far as artists, but the viewers certainly would be, so I would go that route. Vanna Supernova, do you recommend the beauty health niche follow the same recommendations for marketing as you'd get in the political sector? Yes, because this stuff is like, everyone thinks that their genre is much more unique and special than it is. From a business standpoint, it's not. If you understand the core of building out, which most people don't, so I understand that. So like, I'm trying not to razz people because I understand that not everyone has a talent for business, right? And I know I come off harsh on that, or it comes off dismissive, but it's also because the information is free and it's out there, and also it's, for me, you have to understand that like, by nature, the one part of my temperament that isn't suited to being a teacher and mentor is sometimes that I have impatience if I've been repetitive, meaning that for me, it's the 10,000th time I'm saying something, but it might be the second time you're watching and you've never heard me say it before, right? So I'm learning to deal with myself internally with my lack of patience where that's concerned, because it's a problem and it's unfair to people, and I completely understand that. I might have been somewhat unfair to like 2 of the people in the stream earlier who were feeling discouraged or frustrated because they want to do political stuff on YouTube and they feel like their back's against the wall or that YouTube hates them. But while I may not feel that feeling is based in facts and reality, they do in fact feel what they are feeling in reality, and maybe I'm dismissive or disrespectful toward that because I'm impatient because it's the 10,000th time I've had the conversation, whereas they've never had that conversation with me personally, right? So I understand that what my flaws are, and I understand how I come off and how that could rub people the wrong way, but I also, in my self-awareness and in my self-respect, only am interested in changing at my own pace, and not to accommodate other people, but to be more of what I would prefer to be over a period of time. And so, and I'm going to answer more directly your question in a second here when I get through this mentally, but in recognizing that, that's me not pandering to or catering to other people or worrying about being politically correct, because the politically correct thing would be to hear everyone out, give everyone 110% the benefit of the doubt, let them speak their piece, never ban them, never be dismissive, never reject their ideas. But that would be politically correct and fair, but if that's not who I am, then it's inauthentic and it's being a liar and it's being full of crap. If you authentically are not that, even if it is considered horrible, it's honest. And I would rather be honest and be rejected on honesty than be accepted on fake positivity or pandering or pretending to give a crap about things I don't give a crap about. And I think that that's something that every creator goes through. And then you get accusations of, oh, that's how you're going to be, or that's how, it's like, yeah, that's how I'm going to be. It's like, take it or leave it. No one says you have to be here. You know, and I go that route. And it's more aggressive than a lot of people like. But again, the same people who would say I don't like that, a lot of them would criticize other people of being politically correct or fluffy or fake or whatever. But then they don't like when I'm harsh or dismissive. So do you want honesty and realness, or do you want to be accommodated? It becomes the pivot, and that's where, you know, being soft comes in. To answer your question, the reason that I give that thesis for political channels that I gave in terms of the breakdown is because of the vulnerability of AdSense. If you're a health or fitness channel, you don't have the vulnerability of AdSense, but every YouTube creator does have the vulnerability of AdSense because you can't rely on the advertising pool being available, because we all know about the January slump, but what you don't know if you've never worked in advertising or marketing is that the January slump is because budgets haven't been approved just yet. And also because everyone had to spend their budget in December because it doesn't roll over, which is why December is the best. November through December is like the best month for ads. And if you're smart, you sell against inventory for sponsors in October, and you post the most content you possibly can October through December in order to ramp up ad revenue if you're not being demonetized, or even if you are. So that's where I would go with that. And so you do that, but then for the fitness niche, the thing to do with the fitness niche is to also build out digital products that make sense there. Consider physical products, definitely do affiliate marketing, but if you have the money in the bank, consider doing physical products and doing a drop shipping business, which is basically digital wholesaling, and then making very good margins on that. But start small and pick the right thing for your niche, and really understand your audience there. So for fitness and health entrepreneurs, in addition to the revenue streams of merch and affiliate marketing and digital product sales and or courses and a subscription membership program and things of that nature, live super chats, the sponsor stuff, Patreon, all of it, and then ad revenue, I would also say that for fitness and health entrepreneurs that are on YouTube or other social media platforms, that if you have the money to invest initially in it, that a drop shipping business that ties directly into your niche is a wildly lucrative opportunity for you. People have done 6 and 7 figures just on that. And if you can put your brand weight behind it, I would go to that model as well. So that's a tremendous opportunity that's grossly overlooked, and not nearly enough people are talking about it. So you know, that's where I would go if I was in that particular niche. So, you know, that's what I'm thinking. Now, again, you'll have and here's the thing. I go there on certain things because, like, I hate politics and I don't really care about it beyond how it affects entrepreneurs and business and obvious things that are terrible in the world. And I can't get into it because the thing is, I'm prone to depression and anxiety, so I can't really get into the politics of things because it would just make me unproductive and I wouldn't be able to hustle and do my work and to build the business that I love. That being said, that's why I also get annoyed when people bring up their political YouTube channels, but I understand that it's sensitive to them because, again, they're facing frustrations and other things. I love Philip DeFranco, and I would never want his channel to go away, so I do get it. You know, so that really is a frustrating conversation for me to have because as a business person, my instinct is, oh, the rules changed, chaos is a ladder, pivot and do this and or whatever. But for some people, I understand that that's not their mindset. But if they were following my stuff more, maybe their mindset shifts. But if they feel that I'm against them politically, maybe and the thing is, I may not even be against them politically. I'm against them using that as an excuse. Like, the thing is that I hate excuses. Like, you know, like, I started with 0 subscribers. I didn't have parents to, like, fund my entrepreneurial ventures. I didn't have a loan. I didn't go to the bank. I didn't get an investor or anything. I didn't have anybody handing me any kind of money or anything like that. I did it all myself, like, and with the support of friends and family emotionally, and then my community, and then I did it with the help of my viewers supporting me because I was delivering for them. But nothing happens if I don't do the work. So I've always, you know, I booted one of them, but I didn't the second. But the first guy or whoever, but then I didn't the second. Like, she just left on her own. But, like, my big thing is that I want people to be successful at the thing they're doing, especially if they're very well intentioned. They don't have to agree with me on everything. But if you're going to disagree with me, it can't be down to just your opinion. You have to back it up with something, or it's going to be very not great for you. Because if it's something to where I'm already short on it or frustrated, it could go badly because my temperament is not there. And I don't feel that, like, you have the right to attack someone on their temperament if you made the choice to engage them, knowing or understanding what they were about. So, like, for me, that's the deal. Like, the deal is that you can take me honestly and respect that, or you can go away. It's just what it is. Because I would rather that people be radically honest if they can border on not being rude, which is what I try to do, but I'm sometimes dismissive in my tone, or it comes off as arrogant because of my lack of patience and because I don't have and possess that temperament, especially if I've repeated myself. So that's a fault on me. But if someone engages me without context or without doing their homework, or if they disrespect me, I feel like they kind of deserve whatever they get. So, but that's also me possibly being dismissive or being somewhat defensive. And the thing that I believe when it comes to YouTube is that the platform doesn't owe us jack. It's free. You know, so meritocracy and capitalism. Like, free market, I love it, but that's because it's working for me. If it wasn't working for me, maybe I wouldn't love it. But I think it can work for people who are willing to work hard, and for people who are willing to take everything on their shoulders, and people who are willing to learn stuff and work hard. I find that those people tend to be successful. And I appreciate you guys' support, and I appreciate you guys letting me get my thoughts out of my head and letting me ramble and let me, like, you know, do stuff. Tiffany Harrison has a great question. When you say dropship, do you mean sourcing from AliExpress? I tried that before as a test, made some money, but I took so much time to manage. It seems like I would need to make it my #1 priority. So you could use AliExpress, or you could use Amazon, which is what a lot of people do, or you could use Shopify. So you can use either of those. What a lot of people do is, and this is why I say you have to invest, is a lot of people outsource certain of those tasks to make it streamline the process of not managing it. They take a smaller margin on that, but at the end of the day, it just grows exponentially, and then they don't worry about it. So you could, or you can make it your number one priority, but for a window of time, make it sustainable, make it your priority for a window of time, then outsource some of the management, take a little hit on money there, get all of your time back, and it grows exponentially while you then build brand, and then that insulates it. So I would do that. So for me, I think that I would recommend to you that a diversity model of revenue, and wow, we're focused on revenue because there's other things I could have talked to you guys about, but I'm fine talking about making money. That's cool. What I would say about that is I would like you to move to at least 5 different revenue streams if possible. If you could move to 5 different revenue streams, I think that you'd find that you're a lot happier, because if you can move to 5 revenue streams, and let's say per month of those 5 revenue streams, if each of them were averaging $500 a month, which it sounds hard and it sounds challenging, I get it, but that changes your life. If those 5 revenue streams were even doing $200 or $300 a month, it's enough to begin to change your life, because it's thousands of dollars a year that you wouldn't have gotten on your own. So I feel that if you can diversify to 5 different revenue streams, and here would be an example of that. If you could diversify to some type of digital product that you charge anywhere from $20 to $100 for, that would be a really good place to go. If you could do affiliate marketing with something that has either a $30 payout per sale or a 50% commission, and it's a high enough ticket item, then the affiliate marketing could do really well for you. If you could do something where people support you either by donations or a subscription model or something like that, then that would probably be really good. And then if you sold some kind of, if you did some kind of service, number 4, if you did some kind of service but you charge enough for it, that I like that for you, because active income is important too. So I like the idea of you doing a service. And then if the 5th thing is something like YouTube AdSense or Google AdSense or something, then I think that that's cool. So I would say that those are 5 revenue streams that are at least accessible to the far majority of people. I think that you need to build an audience before you think about sponsorship from brands. Like S.A. Chulit is saying, can jump into sponsorship. A lot of brands have used sponsorships in their main form of marketing. Yeah, influencer marketing is becoming more of a thing, but you have to have a base of like 5,000 to 10,000 subscribers to even begin getting stuff like free products most of the time. Some people can do it lower, but it just depends on where your niche is and what you negotiate. I like the idea of selling packages against sponsorship, because as someone who came from marketing and advertising in the traditional world, you buy in bulk, and you like to do that, and you like to do runs of things, and instead of just doing a one-off video, you might want to buy a month or something like that. Like, I'm in the process of closing some deals where I'm going to do some more sponsored content, but the thing is, I picked a couple of brands to approach, and I sold them on a specific package from $1,000 to $2,000 per month. So by selling a package of $1,000 to $2,000 a month, and 2 brands have already committed to say yes, it means that I already know that for the packages that I've just sold against the year, that I just added $30,000 in revenue to my pipeline by writing 2 emails. I added $30,000 in revenue to my pipeline by writing 2 emails that will essentially, as far as this channel is concerned, out of like 20 or 30 videos in a month, it's only going to take up about 6 videos worth of inventory every month out of 20 to 30 pieces of inventory. So not even a third of my overall inventory, including sponsored content, which is mostly mentions at the end of a video and like 1 mention at the beginning of 1 live stream, and then some other things with articles and things with my newsletter, by selling those packages, and some stuff with my podcast. by selling those packages, and I only am going to do that with maybe one or two more other sponsors, that adds tens of thousands of dollars of revenue a year to my overall pipeline, and I could use that money to either expand in other areas by buying back my time, by outsourcing projects like editing, because my editing isn't the style of my channel. It doesn't mean much as far as that. It's just a time funnel, so I could go there. And the other thing that I could do is I could throw some of that money into, if I wanted to have someone start me a drop shipping business and go to a different like category, I could do that. Or I could throw that money at more travel. I could throw that money at equipment. I could throw that money at outsourcing to more freelancers or hiring a full-time camera person for events throughout the year. So there's a lot by adding more money to my pipeline that I can then have more liberty to do by just leveraging sponsors, by selling packages instead of one-offs. So that's an example of how this could be lucrative. So I that's where, to give you a real world practical example. Now there are other people who do this even better and at higher tiers, and I know people who do, by selling bulk sponsorship packages, do 10 and 20,000 a month by doing that. It depends on how much inventory you want to sell against your channel, whereas I don't want to necessarily sell all the inventory. So that's real. Fiberific, did I end up sorting the Amazon debacle out? We will see. Pending some review, we'll see over the next 30 days. We'll see over the next 30 days if I did in fact sort that out. So we will see. So yes, I definitely believe that you can, if you make enough money, you can delegate things, and then if you delegate things, you can grow faster. That's something that I'm focused on in 2018 through 2019. Richard Donnell, thank you so much for the $5 Canadian, buddy. No question, just paying you back for all the value you give. Thanks a lot. I highly appreciate everything you do. High five. High five, buddy. Appreciate you. No, that's rad. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for Super Chat. Thank you to anybody who bought the YouTube Starter Kit. And thank you to anyone who has sat through 2 hours and change of me. That is very awesome of you, and I really do appreciate it. So let's go to some of my final thoughts on starting a YouTube channel in 2018. I think one of the things that people dramatically estimate is the importance of making what your channel does very clear to the viewer. I think that starting out, you have to make things very clear to the viewer, and I think that the temptation to branch out into too many things derails people's success. And I think not having a practical thesis or message for your channel early on creates a problem, because you should know what your channel's about, and you should be able to explain what your channel's about very easily. And so if you can't explain what the function of your channel is, whether it's how you entertain people, or how you teach people, or how you inspire people, or how you cover content, tech, whatever it is, or what your life means, like if you can't explain that very easily and have it understood by the majority of people, you have to go back to the drawing board until you can explain it. So I would say that that's important. King Miami asks, hey Roberto, what's your opinion on reaction channels? Reaction channels, it depends on how they're executed. There are clever ways, and what I think are the proper ways to execute a reaction channel, but most people go for the low-hanging fruit and put the minimal amount of effort, and that's why so many people diss reaction channels and don't take them seriously and don't respect them, is because they don't take any type of creative or clever approach to it. An example of a creative and clever approach is if you watch like Prince Vegeta or Lord Frieza. They took Dragon Ball characters and they do great voice acting, and they are aspiring voice actors, and they mimic these characters, and they did art and animation around them and have the character give their reaction in character to a video, and that's clever. And not everyone has to go that far, but I think that it just shows what the potential of the reaction niche done well could be, and what a justification of fair use could be. But I think that most people are too lazy for that, and they're not creative enough to find a way to make something their own. And I think that that's the biggest problem in the niche of reaction channels. But reaction channels are a good way to build a YouTube following if you have no idea what the heck you want to do. If you just want to be a YouTuber so badly, which I don't necessarily agree with that stance, but it's whatever. But that would be the way to do it. That would be, or rather, that would be a way to do it that I've seen be successful, and that makes a certain amount of practical sense. But it's a solid question. Vanna Supernova asks, does anyone know if Roberto has a video or playlist on the 90-day rule for new YouTubers? I came into the live stream right at the end of that convo. I don't think I specifically, aside from in my how to get 100 subscribers video, call it out. I think I did in that, but it's a 90-day cycles in general are important, not only in YouTube but in general, because 90-day cycles represent quarterly cycles, and if you know anything about the business world, then you understand why that matters. And also algorithmically, things are evaluated in that manner: hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. So there is that, and then year-to-year comparison, quarter-to-quarter comparison, day-to-day comparison, month-to-month comparison, week-to-week. Like, these are the thresholds of how everything is evaluated and quantified, not only from an algorithmic standpoint, but from a business standpoint. That's where budgets and things of that nature, especially with advertising, happen, and these cycles are important. But it's also a really good breakdown for you in terms of overall executions. So a 90-day plan is wildly practical for all of those reasons. Have I done a specific video about that? No. Will I in the future? Probably, but I have to organize my thoughts more clearly around that concept and explain 90 days to what, because if I go too broad, it won't make sense for people. So there's that. Essie Chilusha says, Roberto, people are not speaking all of the small opportunities available to them. I think he meant taking. Some opportunities are only available to nonprofits. Others are only available to women or kids. But look, I mean, I think there's more than enough opportunity for everybody. And I think that there has to be some level of individual responsibility and due diligence. I really... One of the things that I've been really harping on in my narrative in social media forever is how much individual responsibility is vital to success, because everything can change. Like, I mean, YouTube goes under a year from now. You know what? One of the reasons I'll be fine? Because I'm a public speaker, because I built a podcast, because I bothered to grow an Instagram that I want to be more engaging than my YouTube channel at this point, and because I own multiple websites, and because I set up a six-figure business outside of YouTube, and I could market and promote it in any number of other mediums outside of YouTube, and I always adapt and pivot to change. Story of my life. I haven't had a choice in that matter, to be very real with you. Everyone would love to be comfortable and do the same thing. I've never had the luxury. I've always had to adapt. So for me, that's normal. The chaos is normal. And maybe that's not everybody, and I can appreciate that. I can respect that, but I will say that it is harder for you if you lack the ability to adapt and to evolve and to pivot and move within your circumstances and with the rules that are presented to you. I always play against the rule book. I never play against an opponent. The only opponent I'm interested in is me, my future self. That's the only opponent that I really care about. So I always play against the rule book, because once I play against the rule book, if I understand the rule book, it becomes much more difficult to lose, because I lack of vulnerability if I understand the rules as they are presented. I mean, there's rules and things within the YouTube system, within the AdWords system, within everything, and I've learned them and I've pulled them to my advantage. And when it doesn't work, I just change. I mean, a primary example, I think I just got an email alert that one of my ads that I'm running product-wise got disapproved. Let me see what's going on here. So like AdWords said, hey, this ad you were using to sell your stuff, it got disapproved for whatever reason. You know, and whatever, and it won't display until you update it, or if this is an error and you want to get your ads back up and running quickly as possible, you'll find, you know, the reasons for blah 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 or whatever. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll address that and I'll like, hey, this is not blah 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 blah, and I'll just change. It's really simple. I'll just contact the support email and say, hey, this is what it is, this is what I'm selling, this is what it is, it's not, you know, in error, blah 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 blah. Nothing to freak out about. I'll just adapt it. I'll change it. Whatever they say to change it to is what I'll change it to, you know. So, you know, I'll just work with the system as it presents itself. All Things Nelly, $5 super chat. Thank you for today's lesson. Look forward to the next one. Yep. Bordering on a 3-hour live stream. It's actually, wow, bordering on a 3-hour live stream. I've still got a Photoshop tutorial I'm working on, so it's, for me, that's freaking bedtime. But yeah, I'll take 5 more minutes of questions, and then I'm gonna bounce. So I'll take 5 more minutes of questions on what you guys want to know about getting started on YouTube in 2018, and what your questions are regarding that. One of the things I'll also say is it's very hard to go viral or have a breakout video. It never happened for me. I got to 300,000 subscribers, never had a breakout video, never had a viral video. I didn't get any shoutouts until like after 150K or anything like that, with the exception of one. It was Gary Vaynerchuk when he was like much smaller, and it didn't grow my channel at all, but it did give me like 20 or 30 homies in the Vayner Nation that became important contacts in life and became friends, a lot of them. So shoutouts don't necessarily always work. I've been in Daily V 4 times in 2017. I cameoed in Daily V 4 times in 2017. That didn't give me a bump either. So you can't always get attention in the way that you guys think with shoutouts or collabs or anything like that. It's unreliable. It almost never works, believe it or not. For all the success stories of people who blew up from shoutouts and things of that nature, for every one of those, there's literally 20,000 people who it didn't work out for. So don't rely on that. Ebony LM says, how do you catch people's attention? The best way to catch people's attention is with really solid thumbnails and really interesting titles, and tapping into something that already has at least a little bit of attention. Tapping into something that has at least a little bit of attention makes a difference. So I would say that ultimately does matter. Creator Combo, I'm not sure, I don't remember which episodes, I'd have to hunt them down. Laura Bailey TV, hey, how's it going, Laura? Would you do an iMovie or Final Cut Pro tutorial? I'm actually working on those. That was also one of the deciding factors in getting the MacBook Pro versus working on my iMac, because I barely use it. It's for general email and stuff now, and I'm considering converting it to doing something else. So ultimately, yes, I will do tutorials on those things. Evolution Allah says, Roberto, if I'm understanding you correctly, the primary focal point should be leveraging the algorithm since it's impartial, unlike people. No, it's both. It's both. I play the algorithm, but I also understand human behavior and psychology, and I also understand the needs of my particular audience because I cater to an audience that's very similar to me. And so I reverse engineer my empathy into how to best serve the people that are like me or have the same thoughts or vulnerabilities or pain points that I've had in the past. And so I make content for someone who might be a younger version of myself or a current version of what Roberto was in 2013 or whatever. Like, I do that, and I do it in the context of knowing how the algorithms work, but I also work with those constraints because sometimes I ignore the algorithm altogether because I just want to. But I have the luxury. I have the luxury of ignoring the algorithm, to be very real with you. Carol Lee asks, direction for a business setup. Not sure what you're asking when you say that, Carol Lee, but I would recommend getting the Start Your Own Business book, 6th edition, to answer any questions about starting a business. Rudy asks, how do I keep getting views between uploads under 500 subs? Get people to share your videos. Get people to share your videos. And also keep making content. Subs will come later. Like, subs, you have very little control over. Mostly, if you get views, that can eventually lead to subscribers. Sharing will do that. Making more content that's similar will do that. People really want to see more of what they came here for. So make gateway content, get people to share your content, and keep making content. Like, foundation rules for success. How to live stream? YouTube.com/webcam. YouTube.com/webcam. That's how you live stream. Positively, Udo says, do you have a course or something? I'm looking for something. Help me with your workflow. Consider buying my Formula for Awesome Videos course over on awesomecreatoracademy.com if you are looking for a way to improve your video creation process and workflow. That might be useful to you. Check it out at awesomecreatoracademy.com, and then you can see if that's something you want to invest in and if you think it would help you. Let's see. Do you use a protective cover for your iPhone? Yup, for both of them. Standard Apple case, that's all I need. Do I have a video about cracking the algorithm? Several videos on that. Also, you can read my articles on it. Chris X Ilum asks, as a graphic designer and how the internet is at the moment, do you think that doing fast design tutorials like creating fast logos, t-shirt designs, etc. would be effective? People want things fast now. I would try it and see what the market says instead of speculating on it. Because it's in the moment, right? Maybe that worked last year, maybe it worked last week. I would do it and then see how the market responds and try that for 60 days and see what happens. Fulbright Gaming asks, could you do a video on what company to do merchandise to sell? I'll do you one better. I'll just tell you right now where to start selling your merchandise. Use redbubble.com, zazzle.com, teespring.com, spreadshirt.com. Those are good ones. Designedbyhumans.com. Those are good ones. Start selling your merch. Joe from the Carolinas says, thanks for your YouTube starter pack, Roberto. What do I do when current subs say I'm repetitive but I'm struggling to edit videos and just kick out quality content daily? Consider scaling back from daily, go to 5 videos a week, and see how that works out, and that's where I would go. Shell Bazee says, just got here but I noticed a sponsor tab for the first time. That's an awesome new feature. Yep, got set up with that today. Vanna Supernova is, how often is too often the live stream? Can I fatigue my viewers? Is there such thing as being too consistent? See how they respond. Don't be afraid to experiment. Look, when you are getting started and you're under 10,000 subscribers, experiment. Try things. Don't be scared that you're going to mess up You have so much bandwidth and room to screw up a million times when you're small. Take advantage of it, because when you finally figure out the thing that you're going to be consistent and repetitive at for the next 200, 300, or 1,000 videos, that's when you can worry about experimenting. But guess what? I keep experimenting and I keep screwing up all the time. Like the first 2 minutes of this live stream that didn't have any sound. I keep experimenting. I keep upgrading gear, changing setups, changing everything. And if I didn't, and if I only tripled down on the things that were the most successful on this channel, the things that got 500,000 or 250,000 views, this channel would be bigger and it would be massive. And guess what? And it would mean that I was undermining and not serving the 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people that really need some hardcore, honest advice on some things and need that to change their life. But that's why I don't worry about it, because I'm not trying to live off of YouTube AdSense, right? But if I was, I would just look at my top. I'll show you what I would do, because this is an obvious hack. So let's go from here, and let's go from my friend Jason. Let's go over to my channel, because this is the obvious thing to do. This is how you grow a YouTube channel. And yeah, monetization is still gonna be under review for people because they are backlogged that severely, because you'd be surprised how many people qualified despite all the complaining. So if I just sort by the most popular videos I've ever done, it's really simple what the formula is for being successful on my channel is. Because I can just sort by the most popular videos. Most popular video I ever did was 10 Ways to Make Passive Income Online about 2 years ago, and it got most of its views 6 months after I uploaded. It did like very few the first day. This video that's so successful, the first day it got less than 3,000 views the first day. You guys won't believe that. A video that has 1.2 million views on my channel over the last 2 years, the first day I uploaded it got 3,000 views. 3,000 views. That's it. You guys would think that video was a failure, and it's the most popular video on this channel, and that's how my channel works. It's the stack over time. Because I have evergreen content, it just stacks. It just stacks, and it just gets more and more and more over time. And so I can keep doing that, and I know that, okay, I could do passive income videos. I could certainly do my tech reviews, because you guys would think that it'd be all the how to grow a YouTube channel stuff and everything like that. But look at how much of this is tech reviews, laptop reviews, graphic design related videos, career-based videos in creative services, tutorial videos, software. Most of the most successful videos on my channel are hardware, software, and how to make money. And there's a few of the how to grow YouTube stuff sprinkled in there, but it's mostly software tutorials, hardware reviews, how to make money and how to grow a business, and career advice is the bread and butter of what ultimately drives the most views on this entire channel. And I see it in the numbers. So if I went to just every video that has 100K or close to it on this channel, which the proof is in the pudding here, if I just went from here up and focused all of the content on making, for the next year, on finding the commonality of these, and then just like making 30 videos a month based on variations of these themes, the channel would explode. Because I know algorithmically that makes sense, and I know from human psychology that would make sense, and I've identified it by polling you guys and testing my analytics data. And so I also have enough recommended against my own stuff to where that would absolutely work. And because it's things that have enough common demand in the marketplace, and it's proven out by its numbers, so automatically I could just leverage that. Why don't I do it? Because if I do that, then I'll never get to certain videos that ultimately lead some people to changing their life that don't get me views right now, but then in a year, quote unquote, blow up a year after the fact. Because guess what happened? That was this video. It's playing the long game instead of the short game. If I played the short game, maybe the channel would be at 500,000 subscribers right now if I played the short game. But I don't need to get a gold play button anytime soon. It's not something that's massively on my to-do list. It'd be nice it'd be nice to get invited to certain things because apparently people with gold play buttons get invited to things that people with silver play buttons don't get invited to, which is fine. But as nice as that would be, it's something I don't necessarily have to have happen right away because I've got time. And, you know, I'm doing all right. So, you know, but if you have anything that is successful on your channel compared to the other things and you wanted to grow faster, triple down, double down on the things that have ultimately made you successful in the past. That's what I have helped a lot of people who, you know, go through Awesome Creator Academy and they, you know, either do coaching or training with me. That's what writing 5,000 word bloody articles is about, is that I'm not really holding back any secret to anything I've done that's been successful or anything I've done that's made money. It's pretty much all out there. Some of it is detailed and some of it's free. Other stuff is paid and it's more granular, or some of it is a resource or tool like the YouTube Starter Kit. We got a discount for you guys in the description on that, by the way. We got some other things like invites to Morning Fame, discounts for rev.com if you want to do closed captioning. You know, we got resource links in the description if you're still here, but there's just there's all this stuff and that I figured out, and I want other people to figure it out, and I'm not being really secretive about it. But the thing is, the far majority of people won't do it. The far majority of people won't do it. So, you know. That's what it is. Patrick Curran, thanks for the compliment, man. You found me by searching Peter McKinnon fill light, and you got that Aperture 128. Yes, it is. The Aperture 128 is amazing, and you got you're another subscriber. Happy to have you on board, Patrick. Happy to have you on board. GG, get jinxed. How would you go about solving the problem of an audience who clicks off the video if you take too long to get to a point, but also click off if you get to it immediately? I'd find the balance in my format, and I would keep experimenting until I get it right, and then whatever sticks is what I stick with. Super straightforward. Sam Miller asked about upcoming speaking engagements in Atlanta. Social Shakeup, May 7th through May 9th. And I'm speaking on May 9th, and then I fly to California that same night. Well, guys, that's it for me. I've literally exhausted my voice, and I kind of need that. So I'm going to rest. I'm going to pop some Ricola, and I will catch you guys on the next one. So thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for all the amazing comments. Thank you everybody who did the super chats. Thank you for some super wonderful questions. Before we go, just remember, go to awesomecreatoracademy.com. Check out the free content in the blog. We also have some other stuff that I've linked down below, including 40 tips for YouTube thumbnails, 7 ways to know if you're ready to start a YouTube channel. We've got the YouTube Starter Kit for those of you who have started and you want better graphics so your stuff gets clicked. So we got a discount code for you. We've got discounts for TubeBuddy. We've got an invite code for you for MorningFame. And we've got a discount for you if you want to do closed captions with rev.com. So all of that is linked in the description. The live stream will be archived whenever YouTube is done processing that. Since this is so bloody long, it will take a while. So there's definitely that. I actually only meant for this live stream to be about an hour, but we see what happens when I do that. So anyway, guys, as always, thank you just so much for watching, and don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today. Take care.